What you're doing? We come to this place for science. We come to paleontologizing streams to laugh, to cry, to show up late and then ask what today's topic is even though it's right there in the title. Because we need that. All of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the surf rock starts, and we learn something we've never known before. Not just entertained but somehow infotained, together. Baffling images on a tiny computer screen. Sound that I can feel.
Dirter. A dirter is one of those things you get at the end of the paper towels, the cardboard thing in the middle, you go dir, dir, dir in it.
Genus names I can mispronounce.
Purdue.
Somehow, extinction feels good in a place like this. Our common ancestors feel like the best part of us. And dinosaurs feel like they're still around. Because here, they are. Paleontologizing streams, we make fossils less dead.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. So good to have all of you here today. We're going to be jumping right in to today's topic in just a few minutes. But first, Dark Muppeteer, thank you so much for the 4 months of support. Hey, I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. It's good to have you here. We're going to be interviewing Dr. Holly Anderson, who's a paleontologist I met at SVP this year. So, in our ongoing series, The Fossil Finders, we're focusing on fieldwork stories from members of SVP and other paleontologists too. So it's going to be a fun one. Really looking forward to this. We'll be starting that in like 10 minutes, 9 minutes even. But it's good to have everyone here. If anyone is here for the very first time, like maybe you, Coral Rosie, rather. Let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a vertebrate paleontologist. I mostly work on dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are what I study, what I publish on in the scientific literature, a lot of what I talk about here on stream, and dinosaurs are what I dig up during the field season too. So for this past year, we were in the field for a combined total of 11 weeks. 11 weeks! It's a new record for me. And I tried to stream every day that I was out there in the field. Got the vast majority of those days. That and my office streams here are my way of trying to introduce you to what paleontology is really like. Who are paleontologists? What are we interested in? What is it that we do? I want to show you that firsthand. Hence the name Paleontologizing. Taking paleontology, making it a verb, trying to give you an inside peek into how fossil science really works. So I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. And thank you, Tiny Frank B, for the follow 4 minutes ago, too. And Chopin Chris, I should say. Chopin Tris? Thank you for the follow. Yeah. After our interview today with Holly, we are going to be doing some Q&A. We might even get to do Thursday Birds Day. Fossil Friday's tomorrow. The offline thing. Anyway, we might do Thursday Birds Day if we have time. But then after that, we're going to be raiding into the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. They're having their 9th annual field report today. And for the first time, they're going to be streaming it here on Twitch. So we'll be raiding into them, and I will join you there in the chat. I'm really excited about that. So it's going to be really good. Jam-packed day today. I'm glad you're all here. Yeah. By quick way of introduction, just in case anybody is here for the very first time and wondering, like, paleontology on Twitch? What is this all about? Well, oh goodness, did they get rid of that? How does this work? Hang on. I made a channel trailer, and it used to show up right here on the front page of my YouTube channel. There it is. A glitch or something. but this is me. This is what I'm all about.
My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and this is Paleontologizing. Science isn't just test tubes and beakers and white lab coats. What we're doing out here is science, too. We're testing hypotheses by excavating these fossils.
Join me for museum tours, interviews with other paleontologists, audience Q&A, 3D printing. It's pretty big. Who thought this was a good idea? And of course, live dinosaur digs.
A limb bone from a new duck-billed dinosaur.
I invite you to tune in and experience the adventure of fossil science. There we go. That's me. That's what I'm all about. Now, in just a few short minutes here, we're going to be getting into this. And if any of you happen to be on Instagram, if you wouldn't mind liking or commenting on this, it would help me out because we're trying to really get this series off the ground. And the more engagement we get on posts like this, the better I look and the better this looks to the rest of the SVP membership and everything. So, yeah, we'll be interviewing Dr. Holly Anderson in just a few short minutes here. No comments yet. Wow. It's been, like I say here, it's been a scramble to get things going after the annual SVP meeting. We had a few snafus and stuff like that, but I'm eager to get that ball rolling again. So this is going to be really good. But yeah. Anywho, so if you folks wouldn't mind interacting with that post. Excellent. I see some people already have. Brilliant. And you posted a comment. Thank you, Claire. Fantastic. Yeah, again, whatever kind of enthusiasm or anything like that we get. Thank you, Claire and Lenina. Beautiful. But it's good for everybody. So, yeah. I should probably think about tagging myself in some of these posts at some point. I often forget that I even have an Instagram account. I think it's been like almost 2 years since I posted anything. But yeah, anyway. 127, let's look here. Let me make sure that my... Let's see, source, let's do... Elgato Facecam, okay, cool. Got virtual camera set up here for Zoom. This is how you can tell it's a live broadcast, everybody. Stuff gets figured out at the last moment sometimes. That's just how it goes. But yeah. Anyway, I've been looking forward to this interview for a good while now, and I'm glad it finally happened today. So, the SVP Instagram. I'm going to be talking about SVP. And so some people aren't confused. That is the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology, which is our big professional organization that we as paleontologists, vertebrate paleontologists, the scientists who study fossil critters with bones, this is our big professional organization. And I've recently been tapped by SVP to join the communications committee and to start an interview series where we're going to be interviewing different SVP members and other paleontologists too about their fieldwork. The whole point is to bring fieldwork stories to you at home and kind of show off who are the different people who do fieldwork in paleontology. Why is it important? Why is it the sort of thing that, you know, you should be excited about? So I'm excited about this. I hope you are too. And thank you, Claire. Excellent. Yeah, let's, and I think we're going to get a mini pie visit just a second here. Not your best timing, Mini Pie, but you know, I guess that's typical for a landlord, huh? Huh, mini pie. Yeah. Goodness. Let's oh, here. Gotta appease the beast first. Here you go. Here's some treats. There you go. Go nuts. Gotta get this interview started. All right. And Helvetica Scenario. Hey, thank you for the 16 months of support.
The only species
Appreciate that very much.
and appreciate the great dinosaurs.
Thank you, Helvetica Scenario. Good stuff. All right, Minnie. I got work to do. All right. It's 1:30. Let's get this thing going. There we go. Start. And start virtual camera. Excellent. Okay. Holly, can you see or hear me right now?
I can.
Brilliant. Okay. Let me get our correct scene here. Sorry about the feline eclipse going on.
Never apologize for feline eclipse.
Hang on just a minute, and I'll get you on the screen for everybody to see. Some of these scenes got shunted around a little bit, so I got to find the correct one. Should be interview something something. This is a live broadcast, Holly, so things like this always happen. I would apologize, but this is very par for the course. That's not the right one. Here we go. Hang on just a moment here. Should be right at the top. Guest scene. There we go. Excellent. Got you up on the screen right now. Holly, would you like to say hello to everybody?
Hi, everyone. Oh, this is what this side of Twitch feels like.
I know,
It's
right?
magical.
It's really good to have you here. Thank you again so much for agreeing to do this on such short notice. Yeah, it's always hectic after SVP, and I don't know, when I met you there at the pre-meeting field trip and heard all of your cool stories about fieldwork, I thought, man, I really need to ask her to do an interview. So I'm really glad you could be here, and really excited for the chat to get a chance to know you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you working right now, and what sort of paleontology do you do?
So I am a postdoc at the University of Warsaw in Poland right now. I did my undergrad and my master's at Durham University in the UK, and then I went to Griffith University in Brisbane, Australia for my PhD.
Nice.
I live with my husband and my two adopted rescue lab mice, Gadget and Gizmo.
Awesome.
And-
Very cool.
And I'm a taphonomist.
Right. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. What is taphonomy for anybody who is not familiar with that term? And I'll type it into the chat in all caps so people know how to spell it. Taphonomy. There we go.
So taphonomy is the study of death and decay processes. I would love it. It's very macabre. And it covers a broad spectrum of fields. So like forensic scientists use it, of course, all the way through to paleontologists. But a Russian paleontologist, Ivan Efremov, coined it for paleontology, saying that it was for the transition from the biosphere to the lithosphere. I agree mostly, but I believe it actually goes further than that, because we are taphonomic modifiers. Like, we change a fossil from the moment we start excavating it. So I think it goes further.
Interesting. I mean, this is the sort of thing that's kind of key to everything that we do as paleontologists. Like, we're dealing with fossils, which are kind of a very, in some ways, incomplete record of the ancient past. Could I ask you to expand on that last part a little bit, like paleontologists as agents of taphonomy too?
Yeah, so context is key in taphonomy. You can't separate it from the sedimentology, the geology, the stratigraphy. You need that ecological context. And so many times you will look at a fossil and it's already been removed and all of that was destroyed. Or there can be good recording of that. But unfortunately, we damaged that fossil. Um, it was very common practice to label fossils at a time directly on there.
Right.
And there can be a few times that I've said to someone, okay, so was this mark you or is this mark natural? And they'll say, oh, we don't know. We don't know if that was us or not. You know, and it can be frustrating because you can say, if this isn't you, this is really cool, but I need
Right.
to know
Yeah.
it to be sure. Yeah.
So when we're talking about I'm sorry, we're getting another cat eclipse. This happens. Apologies.
I actually I got my result for my PhD thesis via Zoom because it was in the midst of COVID, and
Oh
my
yeah.
cat did exactly the same thing. So in a very serious talk about my PhD thesis, and there's just a tail. And eventually, one of the reviewers was like, "Can we just see the cat? Let's just do it."
That's the proper approach to when you get a cat interruption. So I guess I'll do the same thing right here. This is Sweetie Pie, who's one of my landlords here in the office. But yeah, I think she usually doesn't stick around too long. But anyway, welcome distraction sometimes. But when you're talking about marks on fossils, I think some of my some of the viewers are going to be wondering like what kinds of marks are we talking about, and how would you potentially misinterpret a modern mark as being something that happened in the ancient past? Like what kinds of marks are these?
Oh, it's absolutely everything. I must be one of the only paleontologists who says like the more banged up and destroyed the fossil is, the better because I get more story out of it.
Uh huh.
So it could be bite marks, it could be trample marks, it can be gnaw marks. You can have all kinds. You can have diagenetic disintegration.
Mm,
There's every element of what breaks down a fossil will leave a mark on it, and unfortunately, that includes us. So there's been a few times where really struggled to tell the difference between what was a manual hammer strike and what was a hyena bite mark. And we were very lucky that a student actually took photographs of the moment that the fossil was being removed from the cave ceiling. So we knew that it wasn't a hammer strike, but they can be so incredibly similar.
interesting. Gotcha. So in a lot of these cases, these are not like healed wounds or anything like that that show evidence of healing. Like this is post mortem stuff, like being chewed on by scavengers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
the one I really love is in Southeast Asian caves, porcupines are just obsessed on gnawing on bones.
Uh huh.
They collect them all up into a little pile and then they gnaw all around the edges, and you can just see hundreds of bite marks around the edges of all of these.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
That's
So
really cool,
it's
and
just
that makes a lot of sense. I guess porcupines as rodents, they've got those continuously growing incisors. It's like that's a basic need of theirs to just gnaw on things, and I guess bones are often a good thing to gnaw on.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You can
Um,
get like root traces as well, like if there's been
right.
plant life around.
Uh huh.
You can I love looking at this form of exfoliation that you can get if a bone has been swallowed and then out the other side, and it
Interesting.
peels away almost like petals on a rose.
Uh
That's how
huh.
it looks.
It
So
just
it's
kind of
anything
flakes
like
off
that.
like that. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Message in the chat from Static Life Photo. I was across from Griffith Uni yesterday. Cool to meet an alum in this context. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. We've got viewers all over the world, so it's yeah. I want to ask you, Holly, how did you get into paleontology? And first, I guess, where did you grow up, and how did that lead to a career in paleontology?
So I grew up in the northeast of England in a tiny little mining village called Hornley Spring, just north of County Durham.
Uh huh.
And there is very little paleontology there at all.
Uh huh.
So it all started in that my parents, when I was very small, used to take me further north to the family caravan,
Uh
and we
huh.
would visit Alnwick, Berwick, Alnmouth. They were all near the Scottish border, and we would walk miles, miles and miles of these beautiful beaches. And I think it was a mixture of two events. So it was, I grew up around a lot of older relatives. I was one of only three children in the family. And
Hmm.
I was just starting to notice that their friends were passing away. And my mum had kind of taught me through, like once you've gone, you're gone. There's no coming back. And then I found a fossil rugose coral on the shore at Almouth Beach.
Huh.
And she explained to me what it was and that it was from millions of years ago. And I'm like, so gone isn't gone. You, this means gone isn't always gone. This means you can bring it in a sense back to life. And that just started like an obsession from there. It really did.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, and I think it's important to remember that as paleontologists, in some ways, we're kind of resurrecting the past, especially in a field like taphonomy. It can come across as a little bit morbid, and we can be fascinated by things that to other folks might seem grisly or macabre, but I don't like to think of it that way. It's that resonates with me. That story that you told, how it's almost like a reverence for things or people who are long past. It's a way to kind of bring them back in a sense.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So after that kind of crucial moment when you found that rugose coral, how did you pursue a path into paleontology afterward?
It was an uphill struggle. It really was. It
Yeah.
was. I'm from a lower socioeconomic background, and my school at the time didn't have a very good reputation. And there was this awful, like, self-fulfilling prophecy that because of where you were from, nothing great was expected from you.
Right.
And if you did do well, you were this outlier. And I actually remember we had a careers advisor visit us, and I told her that I wanted to be a paleontologist, and she was like, "Oh, you've got good grades, but considering where you're from and the school that you've gone to, I would like majorly lower your expectations." And she was like, at best, she was like a hairdresser or a nail artist, and I mean that's all well and good; those are good careers, but it's just not what I wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
And then it was like the same battle over and over again. And
Right.
as I say, there's no paleontology in that area that is active. Like the Hancock Museum in Newcastle has one dinosaur cast. So I didn't see a real dinosaur until I was 25. So
Jeez. And you grew up in the
yeah,
country where dinosaur paleontology began. I mean,
it,
yeah, I visit. I
it's just,
mean, I was incredibly excited to visit the UK for SVP because that's where
yeah,
dinosaur paleontology was born. And you growing up in that nation, just you weren't really exposed to that as a kid, and that's
no, not at
it.
all. And then I
So
was
it's really
picked.
cool seeing where you've ended up. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I got picked up by they were called the Supported Progression Scheme. They still run to this day, and it was an amazing idea to try and get underrepresented students, especially those from the Northeast,
Mm-hmm.
into what are considered elite universities, including Durham.
Mm-hmm.
And they did like a 6-week internship with me, and that's how I got my scholarship to Durham. And Durham University built me in all the ways that I needed to be built to like that amazing first step. They nurtured me so much. And then when I left Durham, I really was like struggling to find a footing because it was so competitive.
Yeah.
And I remember someone said to me, if you could get an internship, it would really help. And I went, okay. So I Googled famous paleontologists in the
Uh-huh.
UK. And of course, Mike Benton popped straight up. And I went,
Yep.
okay. And I looked at contact information. There was a mobile number. And I thought, if I ring it, I'm going to get a secretary and I'll be told, thank you very much. But no,
Uh-huh.
And it was Mike himself that answered. And I called him on the Friday. And he said, if you can get here by Monday, I'll give you a 6-week internship for free.
Uh-huh.
And I never told him this, but I spent the last money in my bank account to pay for the 6 weeks in Bristol for that internship.
Wow.
But the very next thing I applied for, I got my double scholarship to Griffith University. So it was well worth it. And I'm very, very grateful to Mike for that. Yeah.
That's incredible.
So,
Like just one of those turning points in your life where everything was different after that. I mean, you said that you haven't told Mike Benton this. I think maybe you should. I think he would be tickled by that. Yeah, and everybody in the audience, we were talking about Mike Benton last week, I guess a little bit the week prior too, because he won the Romer Simpson Medal. It's like the Lifetime
Yes.
Achievement Award that SVP bestows. So again, well deserved. Yeah, Mike Benton, incredible guy. I only met him last year at SVP, and just yeah, charming and kind. And I thanked him for all of these publications that I cited in my poster last year. He's a prolific author and has really advanced the field a lot. And it's so cool that he played such a pivotal role in your career as well. I think we all kind of aspire to that in a way, to be the sort of
Yeah.
person who gives other people an opportunity. And um, yeah, yeah,
My supervisor here was the same, to be honest, because I stepped out of paleontology for a little bit. So I got married and we bought a house and things got in the way. And
uh-huh,
then I was applying for postdocs, and my supervisor, Sergi Lopez Torres at the University of Warsaw, he just gave me the opportunity. And I have this terrible thing. Like I said to my husband, I think it's a disease that I never say no. When someone asks me if I want to do something, I say yes, and then I consider later that I maybe should have considered it. And he was just like, "Do you want to move to Poland and do this?" And I was like, "Yes." So like in the space, and but it was even more it was even more crazy than it sounds, because at the time my husband and we'd been together for about a year,
uh-huh,
and we'd only been living together 6 months. And when we looked at it, it was going to be incredibly difficult to get him into Poland with me
right.
without us being married. So I kind of said to him, like, I just had a job interview, I accepted the job, and if you're going to come with me, then we probably need to be married. And he was like,
Very
okay.
romantic.
Yes. And then he left the room. To this day, I don't know what happened. And then he
Uh-huh.
came back in and he said, I was going to ask you anyway, so we might as well. So in 6 months,
Oh,
we got married and moved to Poland, just because I just dropped it on him like that.
that's how it goes in academia oftentimes. Shoot,
Yes.
I think a lot of folks don't really realize just how touch and go it can be sometimes. You just have to make these decisions like that change everything. I'm really glad that worked out. That's really cool. And on the subject of you saying yes to things, I hope that this invitation wasn't one of those things where I
No,
really
no.
appreciate you doing this like more or less last minute. Again, it's a big deal, and I know the audience is very appreciative as well. And SVP as a whole is. Um, if you wouldn't mind sharing, I hope this is okay. When we were on the field trip, you were describing your hometown as being you're trying to paint the picture, and you're like, it's just like in this one movie. And I know you say this out of fondness, but what was that film? Because people in the audience might know it.
Billy Elliot. Yeah.
Billy Elliot,
It's
yeah.
Yeah, it is actually set in, like, we're a group of little villages, and Houghton is the middle one, and Easton Lane is just on the end.
Hmm.
And Billy Elliot is set in Easton Lane, and the street that he dances down is actually the street that my dad lived in when he was a kid.
Really?
And it's yet another story of this self, like, fulfilling prophecy that kids from there don't make it, and when Billy
Hmm.
does make it, it's like, look, one of them made it. And I hate that narrative. So
Right.
I go back whenever I can to try and, like, boost the morale in young people.
I love
Yeah.
that, yeah. And before we get to that, I want to ask you a little bit about kind of the core of the interview, your field work, because I know these are probably some of the stories that you're telling those kids. Um, Maybe just give us a quick laundry list of what are the different places that you've done field work in, and then we'll dive into some of those and go into more detail.
Have done field work in Scotland, England, Cyprus, Spain, Tenerife, Poland, America, Indonesia, and Thailand. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive. Shoot. And what sort of work were you doing there primarily? Because I know there's kind of a subterranean theme, which we'll get into. But yeah, well, maybe just walk us through. I don't know. First, Scotland. What were you doing there?
So those were my training days. That was me as
Yeah.
an undergrad going out there, and it was all forms of earth science. It was very much, you can't understand the fossil unless you're going to understand the rocks and the context that comes with it. So you would learn to read the story that you were being told. So you were placed in the middle of the countryside, you were given a map, and you were told to plot everything you could see on there and create a geological, sedimentological, and paleontological history and come back, and then you would get a rather terrifying moment where the supervisor, hand it back to you, and then when you kind of graded up through that, then we went to Scotland, where it gets obviously a lot more complex. There's a lot of structural geology up there that makes things a lot more difficult, makes the mind work harder. And then for my bachelor's and my master's, it was interpreting the coast of Whitby. So it was using the paleostratigraphy to work out what happened on that Jurassic coast, which again was just, you were just dropped there for 6 weeks.
Just thrown into the deep end, just sink or swim.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was very much. Yeah, especially with like, you had to be very much aware of the tide times, otherwise it really was sink. Yeah.
Shoot, yeah, a very literal sense. Yeah. When did you realize that taphonomy was what you wanted to pursue in particular, like this branch of paleontology dealing with how fossils are formed and what happens to them? What sparked that interest initially?
So I think, again, like that idea of dead doesn't really mean gone stuck with me a lot. Like, I love like De los Muertos, and then the Polish have their own version here with All Saints Day. It's amazing. And then as I was growing up, like when my parents moved into a house directly over from a cemetery, and as a kid, that's pretty strange and freaky. And my mum said to me, it's not the dead that hurt you, it's the living. Don't worry about them. And my mum's always been interested in that kind of thing. Like, she always used to watch TV programs about, like, I don't know if you remember Gunter van Hagen's exhibition where he used to perform autopsies live on television. Wow. Like, yeah, she would watch all that kind of thing. And like, my great aunt Hannah, she actually laid out my great grandfather on the dining room table before the funeral services even arrived. Like, my family had just attached to death that way. So I've always been
kind of a local custom, as you were telling me, right? Like that's not unusual, like, where you're from. Yeah.
No, not at all. Like, people are expected to like come home for a short period of time, or at least them visit home before heading to the cemetery. Like, people have a strong attachment. Like, death doesn't mean you're gone. And I was like trying to find a way for that to intersect with paleontology, because I knew there'd be something. And then I finally discovered taphonomy in my PhD. And then I've found other people who are like TAF crazy, like Thomas Clements. And it drove it even harder. And then it stopped being in like, oh, maybe that's a path I can go down, and be like, yeah, I'm definitely a taphonomist.
That's really cool. And I hope that some of those stories are going to be in an eventual book that you write someday, because I think that's just that theme is really interesting. And I think people would be fascinated by that. But as a taphonomist, as somebody who studies those processes, how did that lead to going to visit exotic places like, Wyoming and Indonesia and Poland? Was it your specialty in taphonomy that got you onto some of those crews? Tell us a little bit about that.
So when I saw the opportunity to go to Australia, it was that taphonomy sounded like exactly what I wanted to do. Like you said, it was that perfect segue.
Right.
I knew nothing about doing digs in Southeast Asia. That was going to be something completely new. But I'm one of those people, I don't do things by halves. If I'm going to do something and feel uncomfortable about it, I'm going to throw myself all in. So I went for the opportunity. I couldn't believe that I got it. And actually, 6 weeks after landing in Australia, we went on fieldwork in Indonesia. And it was building my taphonomic expertise. And then you just become so well versed in the cave environment. And the arguments go to such depth there. There's so much that still needs to be discovered there. And it became like a bit of an itch that it was like, I could do this somewhere else in Southeast Asia. There's so much still to be done. And I'd read several papers during my PhD by Kandaponsi Raprasit, who I call him Dom. And Dom was at Palas conference, and I went up and I had like my little fan moment, like I did with you on the bus, and you'd like try and be all nonchalant, like, oh, like I'll act normal. And I said to him, like, I'm such a huge fan of what you do, and I don't think there's been any TAF work done in the caves that you're studying, and if there was any opportunity that we could work together. And Dom just is the sweetest guy, and he was like, yeah, there's absolutely loads of taxonomic questions that I have. And he was like, should we put our funding together and get you over to Thailand? And then, like I said, like a few weeks later, I was in Thailand. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Shoot. So yeah, let's jump into the caving thing in Thailand and in Sumatra as well, right?
Yeah.
What geological ages are those caves, and I guess why are you going into caves to find fossils?
So they are Pleistocene in age, though the host limestone that has melted through to be able to form that cave Permian. And
Oh, okay.
the reason that people look for them is because the tropics are so destructive that hardly anything survives. But caves provide shelter from the worst of the climate, so you're more likely to find things there. And also the sediment that sweeps those fossils into the cave, it's incredibly dense. Like this stuff is like cement at times, and it kind of slaps it onto the back of the cave and then cements onto there, so that you've got a, like, I say good, this is bone fragments and isolated teeth, but that's really good for the tropics.
Right.
For you to study. Yeah.
So
it's,
in this case, like you said, that the matrix is Permian, but then the caves themselves are Pleistocene. So the caves are basically just like a Tupperware container to preserve these fossils. It's not like you're digging for Permian fossils in these caves full of Permian matrix. That matrix is being dissolved and then it's reburying stuff from the Pleistocene. Is that the idea?
So yeah, basically the calcite, all of this limestone is leaching and it creates that heavy cemented dense breccia. But
Gotcha.
that's another thing that I really want to get into, that there's just not enough of, is that unfortunately everything is just blanket called breccia. Now, as someone that did geology and sedimentology, you're like, it's not all breccia, but it's because that's kind of like seen as the overall term for it. So if you break down what the sediment type actually is, it gives you a much more detailed depositional history. And yeah, and I think people also don't look enough into the matrix itself in the micro and macro context and in three-dimensional context, because there's times that they will date the sediment and they date the fossil. But I can see on scans where the older sediment is left as like a little rim on the outside of a fossil, and then there's a gap, and then the sediment that it's in now. So I'm like, if you date that sediment or that sediment, you could get completely different dates. It's going to throw off your chronology by a mile.
Interesting. Okay. So it takes really careful study to be able to make sure you're not getting fooled by these tricky environments. So my audience here, they're fairly familiar, for the most part, with fieldwork that we do out in the Badlands of Wyoming or Utah or something. When we think about doing fieldwork and collecting fossils, we're not usually thinking about descending into a cave. So kind of paint us a picture. What does that look like? What's the gear that you put on? How do you enter the cave? Tell us a story there.
So you try and find something that is going to stand up against the cave wearability, durability, but is thin, because it is so, it's not just hot, it's sticky, and you can't really sweat, but you've got
too humid. It doesn't evaporate, right? Yeah.
So humid. So you've got your cave helmet on. I have a permanent bald patch here in my head because the cave helmets over the years have just rubbed it, and it's completely gone now, and it's probably never coming back, but never mind.
Is that like a common battle scar among cavers and people like that? Is this a normal thing?
I've never asked. I feel unusual saying, do you also have bald patches? But maybe I should ask that next time we're in there.
Yeah, I kind of feel it's like that scene in Jaws when they're showing off their different scars and stuff from the sharks. You could have dinner with, go to the pub with some other cavers and,
full length everything because elbows and knees get grazed.
Yeah.
You can be like knee deep in bat guano. There's some serious guano going on there. It's extremely wet. Even in the dry season, it can be extremely wet. So it's when you first leave, you're very fresh and you're ready to go, and you get in the car, and then the driver will take you, and then eventually you pull up, and for example, in Thailand, Dom, who knows the site, will kind of give me a bit of background on it. He'll tell me what kind of entrance, what the elevation is, what he's found there previously, what his taphonomic suspicions are. So kind of like paint me a picture. If it's been mapped before, I'll have a look at the map and I'll see what we're looking at. Dom is a legend in that he's very, very good at dropping in quite big news. So suave. Like he'll just say, like we were standing outside of one of the cave sites and he went, oh, you know where you're standing right now? And I went, yeah. And he was like, that's where a king cobra just like rose up out of the grass at me. And I was like, why would you tell me this? We were at a different cave site and he was like, oh, by the way, there's like a wild elephant like was spotted here like a few hours ago, and like it'll just stampede you down. So like just keep an eye out for that. So it's like every branch crack, I'm like going through the ceiling, you know.
Right.
And
then what about bats too? Because I know that people are going to be wondering about this. You're dealing with, you know, it's not a closed cave system. You can get in and out, so there's got to be full of bats, right?
So many bats. So many bats. When you first go in, it's a bit much because they swarm together, and it's just out of panic because you're creating so much noise.
Right.
And this whole thing about like, oh, bats don't bump into things because like, you know, they've got this echolocation system. It is not true. You will get bashed, like you're hitting the helmet, hitting the side as they're flying past. But then they'll settle and they go quiet, and you're only really reminded they're there because it's just that little eking noise that they make, just little squeaks going on in the roof. But it's kind of like you make your peace with each other for a little while. It's the only time that I've like gotten a real fright from one was I was attached to a rope and we were climbing up through like a pitfall trap cave, and one of the guys who was in my group knew it was my first time on fieldwork in Southeast Asia, so had desperately been trying to like give me a fright for fun, like, and I just felt like this on the back of my leg, and I was like, ha ha, yeah, like I'm gonna fall for it, and I turn around, it was just a bat just getting a free lift to the roof, so I was like trying to shake it free but not let go of the rope. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. See that.
So, yeah. I mean, it's not just those, but I mean, there's snakes, scorpion spiders, there's all different kinds of lizards and toads, and there's just everything. But it's half of the time, it's not what it is, it's that you can't see it. You know it's on you.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't know what it is.
And your imagination can kind of go nuts. Like, what in the world is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of fear the worst. Yeah.
You can't even look at each other because you'll blind each other, because the only light can sometimes be the torch on your helmet. So you talk to each other's feet, you get to know each other's shoes really well, and you'll feel something on you. So you usually have to ask the person who's with you, like, what's touching me? And if someone opens with, don't panic, or it's not poisonous, you're just like, get it off, get it off.
I love this. And it's not something I've ever had to deal with in fieldwork before, like descending into caves and dealing with all these critters. That's really interesting. So people are going to be asking too, what is it that you're searching for when you're going into these caves and braving the elements, local conditions, dealing with all these critters? What sorts of fossils are you looking for? What have you found down there?
So you're looking for what's left of these breccia, because they used to fill either the entire floor or an entire wall. But because of this heavy water action that is slowly reforming the cave, it's just getting ripped off.
Sure.
So you can be left with remnants that are maybe a couple of meters by a couple of meters. Sometimes you're left with something like the size of your fist. You haven't got much. And you're looking for isolated bone fragments. You're looking for isolated teeth. If you're really lucky, something a bit bigger, you might get a whole bone, or you might get a mandible segment. You've like if it's really good conditions. And then the first thing I'm looking for is the lithology. I'm looking for where this breccia is, if it's really a breccia. I'm getting samples from it. If there's any sediments underneath, we'll take micromorphology samples from those. And then I'm looking for any taphonomic marks that are immediately evident, and then how best I can get my colleagues to preserve those when they're taking them down. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you say preserve those, what do you mean? What kinds of precautions do they have to take? What are you advising them to do so as not to mess that up?
So don't hammer directly onto them is wonderful, because you'd be
Good place to
surprised by
start.
how easy. Yeah, because like you don't have this full range of movement. You've only got what the cave will allow, and sometimes you're in a very, very small, awkward space. And but luckily, the guys who come with us are total experts. Like I can try and take a swing at something, have no hope, and they're just like one hit down.
Nice.
Like they're incredible at it. Like, the caving experts are fantastic in
So it's very
Thailand,
much
especially. Yeah.
a team effort. You're relying on the expertise of the people around you, and they're relying on your taphonomist's eye to be able to collect the right samples and everything.
Oh yeah, we were in a cave, and that we're not allowed to dig there. The locals want to conserve it, and we're respectful of that. But they said if anything ever falls from the roof, you can have it. Now I can't say what was in there because it's not published yet, and it's really cool. But I can see there was more bones still in the ceiling. And they said, next year, we're probably going to come back. We'll put up scaffolding. You see it then. And I'm very impatient. So I was like, no, I want up there now. I want to see. And they brought in a ladder. And on the left side, the legs were balanced on two rocks. And on the right side, it's not touching the ground. It's being held by a master's student. And one corner of the top is touching anything. And the rest is just floating. And then our caving expert, who, of course, they're so agile, just like flies up it and goes, see, totally safe, comes back down. Holly, you go up. So I was up there, and then I realized I need to take measurements. I need to take photographs. I need both hands. I have to let go. The shaking, you could hear the whole ladder just going in this cave. And they're like, oh, like, you're getting everything you need? And I'm like, yes.
Is this the same photo that you sent me with the ladder and you taking the measurement there?
Yes, I know. I look like I'm really cool and know what I'm doing now, but there is a lot of fear in that photo. Yeah.
I think we put that in the Instagram post, but let me pull it up for the chat real quick, and we'll switch to that scene so that I can show everybody. Here we go. So there you go, chat. There's the photo right there. So here's Holly taking a measurement of that. Looks like a big mammal limb bone there in the ceiling of this cave. Very nice.
Yeah. So that front left corner directly in front of me is touching the cave wall.
Right.
None of the rest of that is touching the floor. All the cave wall, nothing. That is two rocks and a master's student between me and total disaster right there.
That is nuts. Holy cow. I'm really glad it went well. Shoot, the things we do to collect and study fossils. Holy cow.
Yeah, I remember being in Nalu Sandpit in Indonesia, and it's right into a mountainside, and sandpit means narrow. And this was, you pushed your bag ahead, you did the wriggle, you had another box tight your ankle, you pulled the box via the rope on your ankle, and that was the distance. And you did this for such a long time, and you were finally like a mile into this mountain, pitch black in this closed cave. And you could see the water level, and they placed a piece of bamboo on there so you could really see it. And then someone realized they'd forgotten a piece of equipment, so back out they went. And then they started to take like a mysteriously long time. So the only other person with me said, I'm going to go and see where he went. And then he disappeared. So, and then you could hear the rain hitting the mountain, and you see the piece of bamboo going up. And I was completely alone. The only light was my single torchlight. And I was like, there are horror movies that start like this.
Oh, yeah. You know? Oh, man. It really is like something out of a film. Holy cow. So what kinds of organisms are you trying to find fossil evidence of when you're there? You said Pleistocene, so give us a list of some of the critters that you found in caves like this as fossils.
So you get predominantly mammals,
Uh-huh.
and quite a few of them are the same as what you can find there now. You're still looking at a rainforest ecosystem.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there's always fatalities. You find some that are now extinct.
Yeah.
Nearly always find the porcupine culprits. They're
Mm.
always around.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Are they leaving bones too, or just chew marks?
so they actually they collect bones. It's like this thing. They
Uh-huh.
need to pile them up. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
usually find that all isolated teeth are missing their roots because they love the roots of teeth. So it's
Oh,
really conspicuous straight away. If you've got like no roots and some gnawed bones, and those guys were definitely in there.
gotcha. Are the
Um,
porcupines themselves leaving porcupine bones though, or is it just
you
just
get
the?
lots of teeth. Yeah, a lot of
Oh, gotcha.
porcupine
Okay, yeah,
teeth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
Um, and then you get the occasional predator. So I've seen like bears, tigers, hyenas.
Uh-huh.
Um, there's a lot of primates. There's a lot of research into primates, and obviously, now and again you get an early human. So this
Right.
drives a lot of the research that goes on at Griffith and goes on in Australia as the arrival, migration, and dispersal of early humans across Southeast Asia.
Right.
So they're always correlated with these animals. You get lots of little microfauna, so you always get like your frogs and your reptiles. You usually get like viverids, all that kind of thing.
Ah.
There's sometimes like really little fragile things you wouldn't believe. You get like tiny little like bird bones, and you're like, these
Huh.
made it through this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's wild, yeah. Especially in an area where they'd be really tumbled around by, rushing water through these caves and everything. It's really cool that bird bones could survive that process. And you said viverids as well. Are those are like flat-headed cats or fishing cats, right? Am I remembering this correctly?
It's yeah, you get it's
Yeah.
all kinds of little predators. So you're basically
Uh-huh.
seeing this totally other like taphonomic history. So you get these big mammals that are either dragged in by carnivores or they get
Mm-hmm.
washed in when they die at the entrance. And then you get this whole other pile, which is the activity of these porcupines bringing things further into the cave. And then
Mm-hmm.
these little critters who are bringing in prey that is much more fragile and leaving it at the back of the cave, so it doesn't travel anywhere near as far and it survives.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you get all these different histories, but yeah, there's you you never know what you're going to find. You can get something completely different every time. Like when we were in Sumatra, I know I think it was Nalugupan cave that we found the first ever record of pygmy hippos
Oh, very
in
cool.
the Sumatran fossil record. And I hadn't even seen a pygmy hippo in real life. I'd only seen the fossils. So
Right, yeah.
yeah.
And then you could be in a cave collecting them. That's so cool. Is there like a particular kind of critter that you would love to be able to collect and it just hasn't turned up yet, maybe?
I love hyenas, and
Uh-huh.
I'm currently working on some stuff with hyenas. Again, I can't say much because it's not published yet. It's really
Gotcha.
cool,
Yeah.
but I've always wanted to work on them, and I got like super excited when I'd because we basically had a question because no one who'd done taphonomy had looked at any of this of have hyenas possibly touched this, and
Uh-huh.
they've absolutely savaged it. There's like they've been on every last inch of this thing, and it
Uh-huh.
is just I just find it so cool. Like as a taphonomist, like to have
Right.
a proper giant bone cruncher having a go at something is just great.
That's really neat. Yeah. And it reminds me of I guess another pioneering taphonomist from the UK, William Buckland, who worked on hyenas in a cave. You know this story. Can I put you on the spot and ask you to tell chat about this because it's one of these classic stories in the history of paleontology?
Well, I actually I got to hold some of that collection and have a look at some of it because it's actually in the some of it is in the Discovery Museum in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Really?
Um, but,
Wow.
yeah, but I don't think anybody knows because
Interesting.
unfortunately they haven't gotten any funding to actually work on these fossils.
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me, like I went, I forget why I actually went over there. I think it was to do some volunteer work. and they said, "Oh, could you have a look at some of these fossils? Because we don't know what they are, and we don't know what importance they are, but they're here. So, do you want to have a look?" And I had a look, and it said the Kirkdale cave fossils,
Right.
and I was like, "No way, no way!" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah," but yeah, it was William Buckland. God, he made like huge contributions to taphonomy. He studied the Kirkdale cave fossil assemblage, and he was the one to like prove that these bones were put there by hyenas, not as previously thought a huge catastrophic flood. And like this in like the 1820s to do like bite mark studies and like all of this was just like absolutely pioneering. And yeah, I couldn't believe that assemblage was there. And unfortunately, I didn't have the time to actually go through it more. But I believe it's there. And if anyone has that interest or wants to check that I am in fact correct, it's a hell of a collection that they have, and it's just boxed in a corner.
Wild. Yeah. Yeah. Many of you in the chat will probably recognize the name William Buckland because he named Megalosaurus, the first dinosaur to be scientifically described. So huge figure in the early history of vertebrate paleontology in the UK. And yeah, can you tell us a little bit about how Buckland was able to demonstrate that those bite marks had come from hyenas? Because that's a really cool part of the story, and I feel like it ties in with your work too.
So it was through like actual bite mark reconstructions, wasn't it? It was like
yeah. So as I recall, he was trying to demonstrate that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he used living hyenas.
Right.
It's pretty much literally throwing them a bone. It was, and I must admit, I have that. I really want to do that. I have that. I think I have the same addiction. I've been trying to get a zoo somewhere to let me do this and get some live animals gnawing on some bones, especially some big predators. But yeah, I don't know where he managed to get access to hyenas, but yeah, he had them chewing on bones for him and doing like quite literal like comparisons between the modern and the old. And I mean, that's a standard to this day. It's still done. Yeah.
Right. It's so cool. It's neat to be able to make these connections, not just to the ancient past, but also to the early history of our science as well. Be like, hey, I'm working on the same critters that this early, founder of this field was doing back in the day. That's really cool stuff. That's really, really cool. I wanted to ask you too about your work in the U.S. What kind of stuff have you done? I think you said it was in Wyoming, maybe.
We went to. It was California, Arizona. I can't remember the third state we went to. You're testing my memory. This was a long time ago.
Sorry.
Sorry, it was for my master's year. So it was, again, this was one of those situations of you were taken out there, you were placed somewhere, and you had to tell the story. So it was, you had to use what you had. And there was only really 2 of us in the whole group that were like determined to be paleontologists. So it was like the fossil element of it was always kind of thrown to you, because it was like, well, we know the geology, we know the sedimentology. Now you know, so it was, and I remember we were out on a reservation in the middle of nowhere, and it was the first time I'd been to the US, and everything was so huge. I'm from like this tiny little, like quite literally the village that you picture in your head of a little country village, and then going over to the States was just massive. And yeah, it was amazing. It was the first time that I'd really witnessed how expansive it was, not only literally, but in terms of the paleontology there. And I've always wanted to go back. It's like a bucket list thing that I want to do some taphonomy in the US. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I know some people. If if you could get funding or something, well, yeah. But that would be really neat. Are there any particular places that you'd like to visit around the U.S. or around the world that are like a mecca for taphonomy, like a place you'd love to make a pilgrimage to, just because it's so important to that kind of subfield of paleontology?
Well, see, I'm one of those people where it's the story that gets me. And
Yeah.
my good friend Mateusz Tawanda, again at Uvu with me, he knows this because all you have to do is place the mystery in front of me,
Hmm.
and I can't let it drop. So he'll like, we went to this really cool place called Jura Park in Poland. There's 3 of them, and it's just like this ultra fun. Like there's museums, but there's like a play area, and there's giant life-size reconstructions of dinosaurs, like a paleontologist in a kid's wild dream. And he just showed me like a graveyard, a Temnesbondel graveyard, and he was like, "Yeah, no one knows the taphonomy for this." And I was like, "Do you mean they don't know?" And he was like, "Yeah, like we're not really sure. No one's really studied it." And then he just let that lie. And then like I've been writing on my phone like all the possibilities and what it could be, and lines that we could go down. And I'll just like pop into his office and I'm like, "I'm thinking it could have been this," and he's like, "Oh, I don't know, because there's that." And I'm like, "Oh." Then I disappear again. He knows that's what it does to me. And it's like whenever I'm shown a site and someone says we can't work out the taphonomy there, it turns into like a crime scene for me. I have to work it out. I have to know. So if anyone has a site like that where they say, "Oh, the taphonomy is like super cool, but we're not studying it," or "We have no idea what's going on here," or "It's too complex to work out," I will not. I'll be like a dog with a bone. I will not be able to let it go. Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, I look forward to the paper about that in about 5 or 10 years. I'm sure it's gonna be excellent. Yeah. Yeah. So I also wanted to ask you about well, I remember you telling me a story that involved some explosives and some fossil collecting.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What's the story there?
So this was when I was in Whitby, and this was for my master's, and I try and remember the exact part of it was. I remember it was north of Brunswick Bay. It was just north of Kettleness. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I was mapping diligently because it was obviously part of my master's thesis project. And I don't know how many people know this, so I'll go into the background a little bit. When Albert died, Queen Victoria went into mourning for the rest of her life, and she wore black for the rest of her life. And this included her jewelry. And to have black jewels, she used jet. And jet is found in all the cliffs of Whitby, and it's become a rage. Everybody loves the jewelry. It's become a part of Whitby, and all the tourism is drawn there to go and find this jet. And unfortunately, the drive for this has led to illegal blasting for that jet. So I was underneath mapping of the sediment, and I heard the bang, and I had my hard hat on. I followed my rules from my supervisor, and the first block hit, and then as in naive student, I looked up and I got a good block to the eye, and I got a nice big black eye for my troubles.
Oh, geez.
And then the landslides started to go, and you have all these like flashes of like, Mariani nearly died this way.
Yeah,
Like, oh
yeah.
my God. And you just run for the beach because you're like, I have to get out from under this before it stops. And then I reported it, and I mean, Whitby does due diligence to this. They do their absolute best. They're fantastic with all this, but sometimes people are just too quick. They're just too fast to get them in time. And I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that that there was a risk of explosives. So it's like after that, like you would hear like a tiny trickle of sediment land on your helmet, and you just run for the sea again.
Yeah.
Just
After an
get
experience
out
like
from
that,
under this.
shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nerve-wracking. My goodness. It's funny, that's not actually the story that I was thinking of though. You were telling me I think in Poland there was
Yes. So
yeah.
I'm not sure I'm allowed
It's cool that you've got
say
more than one
I have
like
more than one
explosive
explosive
story.
story.
Yeah.
I have more than 2 actually. That's terrible. Anyway, so I don't think I'm allowed to say where. This is all still a secret, but
Fair, yeah.
Working in a mining environment to look for fossils, and it's just like a big alarm goes off, and that alarm is warning you that there could be explosives.
Right.
And then you basically get someone with like a flag that like confirms it, or it didn't happen. And it was just wonderful because the person with us, so this alarm went off and they're like, oh, maybe there's gonna be
What do you mean,
explosives.
maybe?
Yeah, you're like, what do you mean maybe? You're like, I want to, like, where's the guy with the flag? Let's be sure about this. And then they're like, I can't see him. They'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. They would tell us if not. And then like the majority of you is like, this person knows. Like they're this blasé because they're very comfortable and they know. But there's always that little voice of like, yeah, you didn't think it would happen in Whitby either. But but no, it's
Wild.
a completely safe and professional environment. Yeah, it's a good story, but I can put hand to heart and say I've never felt at risk with them. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I mean, many of us do a lot of crazy things to be able to collect data and collect fossils, but I'm glad that all the crazy things you've done have, you know, worked out well in the end. This is great, but so many good stories, Holly. I knew you'd be an excellent interviewee. Before we think about wrapping things up here, because I want to be totally, you know, respectful of your time. I know it's late there in Europe. What advice would you give to a viewer, a young person, just anybody looking to get more involved in paleontology, whether it's as a career or just, you know, involved in a volunteer capacity or whatever? What advice would you give somebody trying to get more involved?
Oh, you absolutely can. I have this, as you've heard earlier what I was saying, like I hate this thing of only certain people get in.
Right.
And I really am a believer in pull people up the ladder behind you. And like I think it was it Confucius that he said he who says he can and he who says he can't are both
They're
usually
both
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if someone says that you can't do it, that means they can't do it. It's got nothing to do with you. That's their business. And if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And yeah, it's the way it goes. And just be completely unapologetic and just asking. Like we have a saying in my village, and it's shy bands getting out. And it means that if you don't ask, you'll never get that opportunity. Just go and ask someone because you never know. And I mean, I was terrible at science when I was at primary school. I remember my secondary school science teacher saying he would eat his hat if I ever became a scientist because I was such a struggle. So I wasn't natural to it. I had to work hard. And like, you don't even have to come at it as a scientist. Like, I truly believe like paleontology would crumble if it wasn't for like curators and museum experts. Yeah, preparators. Like, they are our backbone. Like, we would completely crumble without them. And like, I mean, paleo artists, absolutely, like, crucial need for paleo artists. And like they need all the applause they can get. And you can come at it from all of those different angles and be absolutely welcomed into the community. Just don't give up. Don't give into it. Don't ever think that the opportunity is over. Just be willing to send 1,000 emails just to get that one golden response. Yeah.
I like it. Very good advice. Thank you, Holly. Before we let you go, where can people find more Holly Anderson? Are you on social media? Where can people follow you? And is there anything you'd like to plug?
So across the platforms, I'm Paleo PhD. So you can always find me as Paleo PhD. If you have a taphonomy question or there is something you want to collaborate on and you have a taphonomic mystery that you know will draw me in, I am available on the University of Warsaw IBE page, it's called, on the staff page, and all of my contact details are on there. I would like to plug that I'm growing my own demistid colony, which are flesh-eating beetles. And
we just talked about them yesterday on stream. That's so cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And we've been giving them their bloodlust. We've been giving them fresh meat recently to get them ready for a taphonomic experiment that I'm going to do. And we're going to be doing time lapses and breakdowns of them taking apart some fish for my study. And there's already photographs up of them taking out some chicken legs and chicken wings, and the different stages of this. We've actually got meat defrosting right now. That's going to them soon. So yeah, if you want to see all things grizzly with the Demistids, then I'll be posting up about that. Yeah.
Very cool. We look forward to it. Thank you so much, Holly. Really appreciate your time, staying up so late for us. I realized this was like a short notice thing too, so thank you again for your flexibility. And yeah, I had a really good time. I hope you enjoyed this as well, and I know the community is very grateful also. So thank you so much, Holly, and I'll let you get on with your evening.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you asked me. Honestly, I've had a great time and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Holly. Take care.
Lovely to see you again.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's get that. What's up? Beautiful. All right. Holly Anderson, everybody. Again, if you want to follow Holly on social media, here's her Blue Sky profile right here. That's at PaleoPhD on Blue Sky. There we go. You can also find her, well, let you figure out where else. Probably Instagram, usual suspects. But yeah. If anybody had any particular questions that I wasn't able to get to during the interview, feel free to ask those too. And you can also reach out to Holly if you're curious about something, especially if it's taphonomic. But yeah, good stuff. For the rest of today's broadcast, we might just have time for Thursday Birds Day, actually. I've got to wrap up by 5 p.m. because we're going to be raiding into the Badlands Dinosaur Museum for their 9th annual field report. So we'll be ending the stream about an hour early today, but I'm going to be sticking around in their chat, and I hope you do too. Yeah, good stuff. Oh, and Jim, the Ankylosaur paper is online? Well. Excellent. I'm glad I can share this. Again, Jim, I would love to interview you about this next week if you're going to be online. Is this the right link? Araucaria? Probably something in the same volume. There we go. Lovely. Here's the link right there. Beautiful. Jurassic Ankylosaur. Super cool. Yeah. Congrats, Jim. I know you've been working on that manuscript for a long time. It's Jim, Rebecca Hunt Foster, Kirsty Morgan, Julia McHugh, whom I met at SVP, lovely person, and John Foster. John Foster, who you could say wrote the book on the Morrison Formation. There's the book right there. John Foster. There you go. John Foster. So, all-star team here on this paper with Jim as lead author. Really exciting, Jim. I hope it gets all the attention that it deserves. Is there going to be press on this? I hope there's been a press release put out and people are going to be sharing this on social media and stuff. Anywho, just shared the tree pup. No worries, Jim. It's all good. No press, really. Well, let's see if we can do some promotion of this paper here on Paleontologizing, Jim. I'll send you an email later, and maybe we can do an interview next week. I think that would be cool. Let me turn our lights back on here. There we go. Have at it, says Jim. Excellent. Cool. That's going to be good. It's going to be good. And Daily Desp is who are we rating? We will be rating Fossil Preparator. This will be at 5 p.m. our time, so in 2.5 hours. go. I think Denver was posting about this earlier. There we go. Yeah. 5 p.m. Pacific time, our annual field report. This is the Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. Every year, they do this outreach event where they do a live stream from their museum. They're going to be putting on YouTube, Facebook Live, and this year, Twitch as well. Steve, who is the preparator there at the Badlands Dinosaur Museum, is going to be streaming this on his profile. I asked, how can I help out? How can I help promote this? And it looks like the easiest way is just going to be able to raid into their channel, and then we'll hang out there in the chat and get those viewership numbers up and everything else. So that's going to be really good. Yeah, excellent. And here's a link to that post right there. There we go. And that'll be about an hour, 2 hours, something like that, Daily Desk. And as you can see by the image, they're going to be talking about varanid lizards. I think they've got a new varanid fossil from the Judith River Formation. That's why we've got a Komodo dragon skull on our wall today. And a framed print of a Komodo dragon. We'll also be talking about hadrosaurs, about tyrannosaurs, about all kinds of cool stuff. They have one of the most robust field programs in the world. For a small museum, like, holy cow, do they punch above their weight. They do some incredible excavations, and you'll get to see that during today's stream when we raid in. But yeah. And what will this be? A summary of all the things found this year during digs? That, and also some of the museum work that they've done. So since they do so much field work every summer, they do... this is kind of like a what I did this summer presentation, talking about the things that they excavated, the data that they collected, and then also talking about things going on in the museum since their last field report, which I believe was last December. So there's a whole year full of exciting things at the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. They're going to be outlining those for you. So this is like the big outreach event of the year, and we get to watch live, which is really cool. Oh, and how are you doing, Steve? Steve says, gearing up for you guys. See you later. All right. Can't wait. By the way, if anybody... I'll say this during their stream as well. But, if anybody's looking for some, gift ideas for the holidays, the Badlands Dinosaur Museum has some new exclusive merchandise they've put on their website. This is really small-time stuff, and they probably will sell out.
These are just a few of the questions surrounding these fantastic animals.
Jedi Mega Man, thank you for the 38 months of support. Taphonomy indeed. What a cool discussion we got to have with Holly. Thank you for your ongoing support, Jedi Mega Man. Appreciate it. These are 3D printed Daspletosaurus horneri heads, like a sculptural bust of this animal. You can buy these as magnets. They're all, handmade. Right there in North Dakota. 3D printed, and then they put a magnet on there, they clean it up a little bit. You can get that, or this beautiful Lambeosaurus skull. This is the only Lambeosaurus ever found in the United States. They have that specimen. We'll probably see it during their broadcast. So yeah. Denver says, I made a lot. I run them off on our printer when it's not making exhibits. The detail is really nice. You could probably code characters from these. I am unreasonably pleased with how well they came out. We're planning on more exclusive merch like this, but get it before it disappears. I got a set of their postcards too, which you can buy in a pack. Hopefully they'll be arriving soon. And here is a link to the shop right there. So sales of this directly go toward supporting the paleontology program there in Dickinson, North Dakota. Get yourself an awesome shirt like this. Or like the one that I have here on my wall, right there. They've got kid shirts, baby onesies, magnets, museum memberships. You can get a large size Despletus horneri head bust. I think these are like maybe 1/3 adult size, something like that. So, cool stuff. Anyway, I'm very fond of this museum. Denver and Liz and Steve and Deanna, they're doing incredible work there, and I'm really eager to support them in whatever way I can. There's a chance I might even be streaming from the field with them next summer. That'll work some things out, but I think that could be really cool. Here's that shirt. Might even change into this before we raid over there, but check that out. I love that they really try to focus on dinosaurs that are exclusive to their museum in the merchandise. So they have the only specimens that I'm aware of Daspletosaurus horneri, and that's kind of one of the key figures on a lot of their merchandise. There's an original dinosaur for them, and unique merch, which is pretty cool. I know a lot of museums, I kind of noticed this when I was in the UK. Several different museums have like many of the same items in the gift shop because they get it from like a drop shipper kind of deal. Somebody produces it in China and then a bunch of different museums carry it. This is not like that. You can only get this stuff at that museum. So if you're looking for holiday gift ideas, stocking stuffers, whatever, this is it's a good place to go. Yeah, and you have that shirt, Dr. Irrefutable? Very cool. Yeah. And that one guy says, are you more or less a free agent contractor for excavations? Well, if I were a contractor, that would imply that I'm getting paid, which I'm not. I'm not so much a gun for hire as I don't know, volunteer gun? I don't know why gun. It's not so violent. I show up and I try and help different museums, different field programs. I make my living here on Twitch. This is how I get paid. This is how I put food on the table. My income comes pretty much exclusively from you, the viewers. Whether you're subscribing or cheering or gifting, that's how I make my living. And we've been able to develop this really cool platform here. This channel has kind of taken off to the point where I can do this full time. But we've got this proverbial microphone here that we can use to promote paleontological science wherever we go, which is really cool. Speaking of support, thank you so much, Spartan, for the 10 gift subs there. Really appreciate your generosity, as do those 10 recipients and this lovely Tinamou bird. Very excited about your generosity there. Just look at him.
Get out of there!
Shoot. Holy cow. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Appreciate you, Spartan. Holy moly. Thank you. Yeah. And this mic is proverbial. This one is literal, but proverbial megaphone. I don't own a megaphone. But, yeah. And Raman says, I always mention your channel to other Twitch streamers. I appreciate that, Raman. Thank you. Yeah, that helps get the word out. Yeah. But yeah, that one guy. I'm really looking forward to joining a bunch of different field crews this next year. Because this year, in 2025, we did 11 weeks of field work this year. But I was working with the St. George Dinosaur Discovery Museum in St. George, Utah, back in March and April. And then in June, I was working with the Central Laramidia Project with Ethan Cowgill and colleagues near Green River, Wyoming. Then after that, was working with the Utah Geological Survey in eastern Utah. And then I was working with the Prehistoric Museum in eastern Utah in September, going into October. So 4 different field crews I was with this next year, 2026. I'm hoping for maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8, maybe more. different field crews just doing paleontological field work. Then we've got leatherback turtle work that I'm hoping to do, and oh man, 2026 is going to be our best year yet. I cannot wait. Holy cow. But yeah. Andrew, Ethan, Jim, and Don, and Josh. Exactly, Claire. Yeah. It's gonna be a real busy year, Lenina. It's oh man, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Before I forget, here, let's do a Blue Sky post here real quick. That'll work. Looks slightly goofy there, but that's fine. Whatever. There we are. And through, let's go. This is not true. That made it into the screenshot there. Alright. Busy stream today. We just interviewed Anderson. About her fieldwork, adventures, and taphonomy stories. And now we're gonna we will jump into Thursday Birds Day. Jump into Thursday Birds Day before raiding into I don't think that's the right Steve Clausen. Hang on. Is it Fossil Preparator? What's Steve's Blue Sky account? Shoot. Dasplito, there we go. Actually, does Badlands Dinosaur Museum have a Blue Sky account? I don't think they do. That's okay. Let's see, before watching the ninth annual field report from Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Twitch.tv/paleontologizing. There we go. Join us at, there we go. Backdrop features a cast Komodo dragon skull, a Dispitosaurus Horneri t-shirt, from the Badlands. Dinosaur Museum. Framed prints of Saurolophine hadrosaur skeleton. And the SVP logo. A picture of Zofia Kielin Jaworowska. Pretty sure that's how you spell her name. And a Polish flag. Both in... Let's see. As our interviewee is currently a postdoc in Poland. There we go. Holly Anderson. There we go. Zofia Kielin Jaworowska. There we go. I think I did spell it correctly, but just making sure here. As plain text. Yeah, I think I had that right. No, I spelled Zofia wrong. It was a PH. It's not a PH, it's an F. All right. Paleontologizing, it's spelled correctly. No typos detected.
On your butts.
Let's post it. Good stuff. Zofia like Sophia. Zofia with an F instead of a PH, Claire, yeah. And I'll post that image, the, Jim. Looking at your blue sky stuff. Okay. Good stuff. We're gonna get into Thursday Birds Day here, and yeah, let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Oh, but first, we've got Metazoa. We may have already missed our Metazoa window. No, hang on, no. We've got an hour and 7 minutes to do it. Let's do it. Excellent. Yeah. If anybody is new here, this is a guessing game that we play when we remember to. There's a mystery animal of the day, and we've got to try and figure out what it is using an evolutionary family tree to narrow things down. So, well, shoot, let's get into it. The way that it works is we type in the name of an animal into here as our guess, and then Metazoa will show us the most exclusive evolutionary clade, so like the narrowest family group that includes the mystery animal plus our guess. If we get really close, it'll be a really small group. If we're not particularly close, it's going to be a big group, and then you try and narrow it down. This game is heavily tilted toward placental mammals, so I like to start off with a mammal. Again, we're trying to get this in as few guesses as possible, so mammal's usually a good place to start. So give me the name of a... I like that, Claire Burr. Raccoon, maybe? After, after this recent crime that was announced on the news. Come on, YouTube. You could do it. You could do it.
A burglar that broke into a Virginia store was caught by police asleep in the bathroom. It gets even better. That burglar was a raccoon. Now, you're probably wondering how it ended up passed out on the bathroom floor. Here's how. This was a liquor store, and from the looks of things, that raccoon went on a serious bender. According to the police report, the drunk raccoon was taken to a shelter to sober up and to get a talking to about its poor life choices before being released on its own recognizance.
Looks like he had
Right,
a lot of gin and tequila.
right by the toilet.
Oh boy.
Anyway, we could start with a raccoon, or we could do an elephant or a cobra or a bat from Holly's Caving Stories. But we'll go with raccoon to start with. Let's see where that gets us. Okay, so it's not a mammal, but we could have done worse. Could have done a lot worse. It is a fish. But it's not a mammal kind of fish. I'll show you what I mean. Pull up our tree of life here. So, go to animals. This is the entire tree of life here. As far as we know, all living things on our planet. Plants, animals, fungi, protists, every other living thing. They all share a single common ancestor. About 3.5 billion years ago. All life is one. It's true. As far as we know. As far as we know, there's like one single ancestor of all life forms today. But Metazoa doesn't have all those. It only has clades within Metazoa. That's the animals, which are here. Everything from this point on is an animal. Still over 1.4 million species. We guessed raccoon. And our critter's not a raccoon, but start there. There's raccoons there. 3 living species of raccoon. But nope, it's not that. It's not one of these caniforms. It's not a dog-like carnivoran. It's not a carnivoran at all. In fact, it's not even a mammal. Not a Laurasiatherian, not a Boreoeutherian, not a placental mammal, not a therian mammal, not a mammal at all. And it's not even an amniote. It's not a tetrapod. It's not a lungfish or tetrapod or a lobe-finned fish at all. But it is part of this clade. Euteliostomi, these are the bony vertebrates or bony fishes, depending on how you want to look at it. So all of these animals are fish.
What?
It's true.
What?
Yeah. Frogs, birds, lemurs. They're all kinds of fish. So here's the thing, is that tetrapods, animals with bones that largely live on land, some of them went back into the water. But, they all evolved from a fishy ancestor, something kind of like Tiktaalik. So all of the mammals, and the reptiles, and the amphibians, they all evolved from a critter that looked a lot like this. So strictly speaking, all of these animals are a kind of fish. They evolved from a fish ancestor. So yeah, they are exactly derived fishes, Alexander Morrison. So we guessed raccoon. Metazoa says, nope, best I can do for you is, Euteliostomi. The bony fishes. And we say, okay, but that gives us more information than you might expect. Because raccoons, to get to them, you gotta go in this direction. Go through clades like Sarcopterygii. And Metazoa didn't say Sarcopterygii. No, it said Euteliostomi. More basal. Which tells us that instead of taking a right over here, we gotta take a left. Our critter is a ray-finned fish. An Actinopterygian. So that narrows it down to only 34,000 species. Not too shabby. We started off with over 1 million that it could have been. There's over 1 million species of animals on that tree at least. And here, we've narrowed it down to just 34,000 now, with one guess. From 1.4 million to under 35,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So yeah, it better not be a fire eel again, Dr. Muppeteer. Oh boy. That really got us earlier this week. Yeah. So, I don't know, give me the name of a ray-finned fish, Chad. That's most of the fishes you can think of. Everything from tuna to salmon to scorpion fish, anglerfish, sunfish. Dr. Harris says gar. So, gar is a good one. I love gar, but that's probably not going to be an excellent guess because gar are fairly primitive. They're part of this clade that only has 8 species. So out of the 34,000+ species that exist within the bony fish, Actinopterygian rather, ray-finned fish clade, out of those over 34,000, over 34,000 of those are teleosts. So give me the name of a teleost, I should say. Stingray. Gay hibiscus, you know those are chondrichthyan fishes. They're cartilaginous. It's not part of it. That's your guess, sunfish. It's an interesting one, Dr. Irrefutable. I like that. Let's try bass from Alexander Morrison. That's a percomorph fish. Man, are we gonna get stuck in percomorph hell again? We might. Let's try bass and see where that gets us. Okay. Reliving the fire eel event, yeah. And then the fire eel attacked. Oh, there you go. I appreciate that, Murph, yes. Should have said purgatory, or purgatory, percomorph fishes, yeah. Anywho, so we have an acanthomorph fish. So, acanthomorpha, please let this be a clade inside of percomorpha. I really want it to be. It'd make things so much easier. The spiny ray-fin fishes. Acanthomorpha, okay. And there's the percomorphs there. So our fish is not going to be a percomorph, but it is a spiny ray-fin fish. So that tells us it's got to be a member of one of these clades. It's got to be either one of these guys,
We are leading him into
like a pine cone fish. I kind of doubt any of these are in the... Or it could be a beardfish. No. It's not going to be one of them. Or it could be one of these guys. Sticklebacks, hakes, grenadiers. Interesting. Cave fishes. They don't have cave fish. Okay. So our critter is in between where a bass and the base of Acanthomorpha would be. Because bass are percomorphs, aren't they? Oh. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. It's going to take us over there, but they are part of percomorpha. Okay, good. So, our critter is kind of anything but a percomorph. Squirrelfish, soldierfish. It's gonna be a beardfish. They're too obscure. They're not gonna be in the game. Oarfishes. That's charismatic and well-known enough that it's almost certainly in Metazoa. Could it be an oarfish? Ooh. I hope it is. That would be super cool, because I'd love an opportunity to talk about oarfishes. Oh boy. Shall we?
Hold on to your butt.
Shall we try oarfish? Come on now. No. Not only is it not that, that didn't get us anywhere closer. Uh-oh. hope this doesn't turn into another fire eel situation. Here we go, says Dr. Tara. I hope not. I hope not. Okay, so it's not going to be part of this clade, so we can cross this one off. Could be a cod. Cods and thread tail, maybe? Well, no, because that... Here. Both cod and oarfishes should be members of this clade. So it shouldn't be a cod. Let's figure out what this clade is called. Oarfish are part of Lampriformes.
An armored giant, wreaking his prehistoric fury on modern man and his puny machines.
Thank you, Peyton La Pacificateur, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a cod, because I think cods and oarfish are probably members of this clade. Oh, maybe not. Lamprimorpha, maybe? Yeah. Lamprimorpha is thought to be the sister group of the superorder Paracanthopterygii, which contains cod, dories, and trout perches. Could still be a cod, but let's see if there's... We'll keep cod on the back burner. And we'll see if maybe it's not going to be a beardfish. Where's our anglerfish? Who is this? Is that an anglerfish? Fangtooth. They don't have fangtooth. Dories, trout perches, cods. Can't really think of who else it might be. If, Roughies. It's always tricky when we get these ray-fin fishes. They're so darn speciose. Spiny fish, spiny fin. It's probably gonna be a cod, huh? Unless there's some kind of, like, famous aquarium fish or tropical fish in this clade. Squirrel fishes. Let's look them up real quick, just in case. Bariciformes. No, let's just try cod. It's probably gonna be cod, isn't it? I know a lot of folks here on Twitch are big fans of cod. You hear people talking about cod all the time, and it's like, they must really love this fish, you know? Shoot. Everybody's streaming cod? Like, that's such a beloved ray-fin fish, apparently. Let's see if this is it.
Hold on to your butts.
And it is! Beautiful. We got it in 4 guesses. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Let's, oh, man. Saved from Purgatory. There you go. Thank you, Claire. Yeah. Here, let's share that real quick, shall we? All right. Average guess is down to 5.5. That's pretty good. We're back on the proverbial horse. Nice. Yeah. funny enough, cod is a delicacy in Portugal and Puerto Rico as well. See on this. There's this one dish that like my family would often have at Christmas time on my dad's side of the family, called bacalhau, which I think is it's like a salted cod. It might even be partially fermented or something. But the joke was always that it smelled really bad. Like, oh boy, who brought the bacalhau? Anywho. Let's see if we can find a decent video on Atlantic cod that isn't just about how to butcher them or otherwise do unkind things to them. Atlantic cod science? We'll try that. Oh boy. Okay.
Five years ago, Fisheries and Oceans Canada issued a warning that extinction of this species in the Gulf was not just possible, it was probable. The first assessment since then has now been released.
We are not seeing any recovery of the spawning stock biomass of that stock. It is still experiencing really high levels of natural mortality, especially at the adult stage of the life of these cod.
He says between 60 and 70% of cod in the southern Gulf do not survive beyond age 5, are not around long enough to reproduce.
So the most likely cause of this increase in natural mortality is an increased predation by gray seals.
Cod were able to withstand large numbers of seals in the past, but that was before overfishing caused the population to collapse several decades ago. Seals are now preventing a recovery, even though recent surveys detected increased numbers of young cod.
We are seeing influxes of new fish that essentially die off before they reach their teenage years or their adult years. So it's very much that the cod population is at a low level and the seal predation is at a high level, and they're unable to get out of that situation.
So normally that would be okay. Like normally that would not be a problem for the cod, but there's so much pressure on them because of overfishing that they just can't gain a foothold or a fin hold, if you'll excuse pun. That's rough. That's rough.
Even with no fishing, long-term projections indicate cod in the southern Gulf will be on their way to commercial extinction within a matter of decades. That's when there are so few it's not worth trying to catch them. Paul Withers, CBC News, Halifax.
So that's a theme that you hear again and again is like you just get a total collapse of a fishery. Like if there's industrial scale fishing in an area and they just catch all of the fish or shrimp or whatever else, not even all of them, just enough of them that the population collapses, then there's no more of those critters. And then all of those fishers lose their jobs. All the fishermen, all the people who work in the cannery, everything else, everything just has to close down. Because they wiped out those animals. That's what happened in Monterey Bay years ago with the sardine fishery there. Yeah, it's lousy. Can we find some more information on these as animals, though? Facts about the Atlantic cod. Let's take a look.
The Atlantic cod is a large-bodied predator and a key species in the North Atlantic ecosystem. Atlantic cod inhabit the North Atlantic Ocean from Greenland to North Carolina. They live near the ocean floor along rocky slopes and ledges. They prefer to live in cold water at depths of around 30 to 500 feet, on bottoms with coarse sediments. They undergo seasonal migrations. The Atlantic cod body has dark spots. There is a distinct barbel on the lower jaw. The body has 3 dorsal fins, 2 anal fins, and no fin spines. Atlantic cod feed on a variety of invertebrates like shrimp and fish like herring. They are capable of reproducing at 2 to 3 years old. Adults swim offshore to reproduce. They spawn near.
And interesting, she said they can reproduce at 2 to 3 years old, and I think the guy in the last video said they're not reaching the age of 5, so they're not at reproductive age yet. I wonder if that's not well understood, if we don't really know exactly when they're sexually mature, when they can actually start reproducing.
Near the ocean floor from winter to early spring. Females can produce millions of eggs that they release into the water column. Egg production increases with size. Hatched larvae drift with the currents. Atlantic cod can live over 20 years and grow to around 51 inches long. Sharks and marine mammals like to prey on them.
Like the seals we were learning
Inshore
about
cod are usually smaller than offshore cod. They are caught both recreationally and commercially. Many of their formerly large populations have been reduced by overfishing. For more marine facts, click the subscribe button.
Nice little video. Thank you there, Deep Marine Scenes. But yeah, a critter that might be commercially important, which means it's kind of exploited and a lot of people eat them, but it's a beautiful animal and a vital part of that ecosystem. With that said, I am pleased that people online, especially I think people on Twitch, are very fond of this animal because it does seem to get a lot of attention. People talk about cod all the time, and yeah. Saris Rainbow says, how long does it usually take you to change the background in your office? About an hour or so. Yeah. You know, the time adds up, but I think it's worth it, you know? Paleontology is always changing. There's always new things to discuss. There's new discoveries being made. I want the background to reflect that. I don't want it to be the same, even 2 days in a row if I can help it, you know? So we do change things out fairly frequently. Yeah.
Really spectacular, spared no expense.
And Reagan Nation, thank you for gifting Saris. I appreciate that. Good stuff. Yeah. Anyhow, Junebug Ye says the different backgrounds are really cool. I appreciate that. Again, I put a lot of time and effort into it today. For today's background, since we're going to be raiding into the Badlands Dinosaur Museum for their 9th annual field report, wanted to include some stuff related to their work. So Hadrosaur skeleton, Triceratops brow horn. Here's Triarchunkus, which is a dinosaur that, well, the holotype specimen is there at the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. It's a dinosaur I'm an author on. Along with Denver Fowler, lead author, Jack Wilson, who found some of these specimens. Jack Horner is one of the authors on there, too. Yeah, it's kind of our baby at that museum. I've done a lot of work with that museum. They're, I think, going to be talking about some varanid lizard fossils this year that they found in the field. There's a Komodo dragon skull, a cast Komodo dragon skull, and a Komodo dragon portrait right there. And then since we interviewed Holly Anderson earlier on today's stream, who's doing her postdoc in Poland, I have a legend of Polish paleontology, Zofia Kielem-Jaworowska. That's her portrait right there. And then a Polish flag. And the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology logo. Because that interview was done for the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology, of which Holly and I are members. So, yeah. Anyway, I try and be as thoughtful as I can with our backgrounds for every stream. I want to make it relevant to whatever we're talking about, and all of that. So, yeah. Hope that makes sense. Today is Thursday, and I didn't think we'd have time for it, but... And Badlands is streaming on Twitch now? Is that a statement or a question there, Illiterate Scholar? I don't think they're on yet. It'll be on Fossil Preparators channel, right here. This is the channel of Steve Clausen, who's the lead preparator at Badlands Dinosaur Museum. And he, I think, is going to be streaming this, so I asked how can I help out? Can I co-stream? Would you like me to rebroadcast from Facebook Live to Twitch? And since he's already going to be streaming it on his channel, he said, yeah, just raid in. Awesome. Makes it easy on us. I can just raid in. So I'll be hanging out there in the chat. We'll be raiding in about an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah. Anywho. Oh, and cool, Chaotic Kid. Nice. In Ireland called Jurassic New Park. Very cool. There is one dinosaur fossil specimen from Ireland. Probably Scelidosaurus or a close relative. But yeah. Yeah. And they just started. Did they start already, Claire? No. You're kidding me. No, they're not streaming. Denver does his yearly recap.
So
yeah,
this
that's
is Tullymons from Gregarium under the microscope.
That's what we're going to be raiding into today, Illiterate Scholar. It's going to be good. Yeah. Anyway, but first we've got Thursday Birds Day. So without further ado, let's jump into that. We've got an hour and 40 minutes. Should be plenty of time. So Thursday Birds Day is our... It should be weekly, but it's often not. We've been very busy lately. So it's been a while since we've done a Thursday Birds Day. But we're going to catch up on those birds right now. If any of you are wondering, what is this Thursday Birds Day thing? What is this all about? Here's a little video to explain it. There we go. Thursday Birds Day starts now.
Hold on, something's coming out of here. Look, there's a bird, dude. It knows what's good. I'm telling you, I just heard it inside.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's gray and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Thursday.
Thursday Birds Day.
Birds are all around us in everyday life. But most of the time we hardly even notice them. Thursday Birds Day is a step toward correcting this oversight. Do you want to be part of Thursday Birds Day?
I don't know.
Here's how you can contribute. Go outside during the week and pay special attention to the birds around you. See if you can take a picture of a bird. It doesn't have to be a good picture, any old photo will do. Upload the picture to the Discord and we will discuss it on Thursday. Simple as that. Thursday Birds Day is an invitation to go outside and appreciate the grandeur of the natural world. It's a reminder that, since birds are theropods, dinosaurs still enrich our daily lives.
It's great!
And finally, it's a celebration of the amazing history of life on our planet. So, happy Thursday Birds Day!
Happy Thursday Birds Day, everybody. Let's get into it. Let's see what we've got. First off, from, November 7th? Have we not done a Thursday Birds Day since I left for SVP? Holy cow. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot today. We'll go through these quickly, but Mayor Space has got a crested pigeon for us at the Toledo Zoo Aviary. Check out that beautiful bird there. Lovely. Crested pigeon. Here, let's pull up our Tree of Life and find some of these birds. Let's go to AVs here. Long Birds Day. Well, I mean, we might have to cut it short because I only have until 5 p.m. here. That's all right. Yeah. Anyhow, there's birds there. 10,002 species. Every one of them is a dinosaur. Again, how many species is that?
9,000!
Yeah. That's a lot of birds. Crested pigeon is our first one today from the Mayor of Space. There you go. What, 9,000? Yeah, you better believe it. And there's yours. Okifaps Laphodes. Okifaps Laphodes. Something Sylvester the cat would say. Or Daffy Duck, maybe. There we go. Crested pigeon. Thank you, Mayor Space, for posting good stuff. Good way to start us off. Cacklin's Wharf. Oh, again, this is from November 7th. Holy cow. Yeah. You always post such cool things. If anybody's looking for just a nice, chill video to put on in the background as you're, working or doing whatever, we have these lovely walks from Cacklin's Wharf here. Some beautiful public transit. This is out there in the Netherlands. Walking from Halfweg to Sandpoort by way of Sparnwood and Spaarndam. I apologize if I butchered those, but we see a lot of birds during these. This is from August. Got some grave markers there. Lovely Dutch town. Cool stuff. Thank you, Cacklin's Wharf, for posting. Let's find gray lag geese in flight. 4320. Pull up a highlight here. 43. 15. There we go. Gray lag geese. Nice. That's not a bird either. Those geese were cool to see. Let's see them again. Nice. Alright. Gray lag geese. That's Anser, right? Which is like, it's like your standard issue goose. Anytime the genus and species name are the same, if it's like gorilla, or Anser, it's like that is the quintessential goose. Just like the what is it? Eastern lowland gorilla is the quintessential gorilla. At least that's what the person who named it thought. I bet you this was Linnaeus who named this. Yeah, bog standard. There you go, Clever. Yeah. Anyhow, good stuff. Bison, there you go. Who else can come up with a Latin binomial, or just biological binomial, where the genus and species name are the same? Anybody else got any? There you go, Claire. Iguana. Yeah. The green iguana. Pizza. I'm pretty sure that's the Little Caesars tagline there, that one guy. Radis? I think that's right. Tactical Grace. Nice. Yeah. Crocodilus sucus. I mean, I'll give that one to you because it took some creativity, Alexander Morrison. But yeah. Camelops? I think Camelops is the genus, but yeah. Pica, there you go, which is the magpie, right, Starmie? Let's jump to that. Pica. It's not something that a little yellow electric rat says. Pica is, there we go, the black-billed magpie. One of my favorite critters when I lived in Montana. Yeah, camelops. There you go, Kenya. Yeah, magpies are actually on the Paleontologizing logo, don't you know? Here, see if you can spot it. When we switch there. You see it? Yeah. Buteo, there you go, yeah, which is some kind of hawk, right? Bubo, there you go, blue tongue. There's a bunch, yeah. And I bet you most of those were named by Linnaeus. Yeah. Good old Charlie Von Linné. Yeah, we are not going fast enough to be able to get through all these, so let me hop back on the horse here. Oh, common buzzard. Oh, interesting, Cackling Surf. Okay. Dinosaur Dave has got a potential Pacific gull and a smaller local gull behind it. Pacific gull? Local gull? Nice dinosaur. I wonder if these guys are invasive in Australia. Pacific gulls. Gulls are very adaptable animals, and they're considered sacred to certain religious groups around the world, like the Latter-day Saints in Utah. Anyhow. It's kind of a joke, but also kind of not. And Balint has got a great heron for us. Look how great that heron is. Sorry, great egret. Which is not Ardea herodias, that's another species within genus Ardea. Great egret. Great egret. Oh shoot, is it a totally different genus? It just looks like a great blue heron that has been sun bleached, but nope, different genus, Casmerodius albus. Huh. Yeah, it looks just like it. Even that like kink in the neck looks very much like a great blue heron, but nope, different genus. The great egret and the intermediate egret. Is there like a beginner's egret? Remedial egret? It's probably extinct now, unfortunately. Anyway, very nice science streams. Novice egret income. And more from Cacklin's Wharf. Ooh. Let's find a gray heron struggling with prey that's just a tiny bit too big. Okay. That's at 2537. Oh, I like how we're starting on birds here. Let's get a sense for the ambiance, the peacefulness here. Let's go to 25 minutes. Oh, classic Dutch infrastructure here. A windmill. That's so cool. Holy cow. Again, I got to share this link with everybody. You love, you know, chill Dutch vibes. Cacklin's Wharf has got you covered. All right, 25 minutes. Where's our gray heron? 2537. Coming up. There we go. Gray heron. So I think this is... Oh, got something. Wow. Wow. Big ol' fish. Probably a percomorph fish. Oh, Reaganation, thank you for that donation. Hang on, we'll take a look at that in a second. Thank you, thank you. Who have we got here? End up dropping the fish. Oh! This fish lives to swim another day, unless it got speared through the brain or something. These heron bills are sharp. Very cool, Cactus. Thank you for posting. Holy cow, Reaganation, thank you for your donation there. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. And I don't suspect we'll get to our sub goal by the end of today's stream. Thank you for making a contribution. I appreciate that recognition. Thank you, thank you. And holy cow, Dynamite Twins! My goodness. Welcome to Paleontologizing. A brilliant alert for Thursday Birds Day here. Good stuff. Dynamite Twins, how was your stream? I hope it was really good. How are you? Welcome. If anybody is new here, which there surely will be some people who are new, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I work on dinosaurs. And, well, here's a video proving it.
My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and this is Paleontologizing.
Hey, aliens are real 978. Howdy. Welcome. Yeah.
Science isn't just test tubes and beakers and white lab coats. What we're doing out here is science, too. We're testing hypotheses by excavating these fossils.
Go. Watch out. Join me for museum tours, interviews with other paleontologists, audience Q&A, 3D printing. It's pretty big. Who thought this was a good idea? And of course, live dinosaur digs.
A limb bone from a new duck-billed dinosaur.
I invite you to tune in and experience the adventure of fossil science. That's me. Welcome to Paleontologizing. We're in the middle of Thursday Birds Day right now, which is our weekly celebration of the fact that dinosaurs never went completely extinct. We have thousands of species on Earth still around today. Not like this, but birds. Birds are living dinosaurs. Thank you, Robo-Ron, for the follow. Welcome. And OG Carnage is excited for the stream there. Get it? Thanks for the follows. I appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah. Dynamite Twins, I hope you had a wonderful stream. Actually ran into Dynamite Twins in person at TwitchCon just a couple months ago. Damalise, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Good to have you here. Here, where did we run into Dynamite Twins? This is when I had my Velociraptor walking around with her, and with Draw Curiosity. And we ran into Dynamite Twins. Where would this have been? It might have been earlier in the stream. Right here? Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I ran into him last year, yeah. One of his moms. Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Oh, you're
Nice.
fine. Oh, okay. You're okay. Okay.
What type of dino is this?
She's a Velociraptor. Yeah.
I
So they
know.
look a lot different than in Jurassic Park.
I thought they were smaller.
She's pretty big for a Velociraptor, honestly. Yeah. She's been very well fed.
By you specifically?
Oh, yeah.
Which other streamers are you taking out?
We're gonna see if we can take a bite out of your Arduino later, and maybe science.
She looks pretty awesomely like pizza.
There we go.
We're gonna take out the pizza.
Is it a Microraptor?
What's that?
What's a Microraptor?
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're a lot smaller than you see in Jurassic Park, but covered with feathers.
What's his name?
Her name's Velia.
Her name's Velia.
Yeah.
Hi, Velia.
Anyhow, good stuff. Anyway, we love Dynamite Twins around here, so thank you again for the raid. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna get back to Thursday Birds Day here. This is our. It should be weekly, but it doesn't always work that way. But we encourage members of the paleontologizing community to go outside. Go outside and see if they can take a picture of a bird.
No expense.
Post it to the Discord and we'll talk about it. Birds are living dinosaurs. And thank you, Reaganation, for gifting Crimson Predators. I appreciate that, Reaganation. Thank you, thank you. Let's take a look at some more of these lovely birds. Living dinosaurs. Pursue has got a very magnificent but humble-looking wagtail. Oh, very cool. It surveys across what was once Paleo Lake Cattle, a huge early Carboniferous lake. Very nice. That is really neat. Check out that little bird up there on that precipice. You know, blurry bird photos are still bird photos. Sometimes the blurrier the better, you know? You'd be like, what is that bird? Almost need to like zoom in. Do birds still exist among us? Well, yeah. Do dinosaurs? Yeah, birds are dinosaurs. Anyway, you get the idea. Doesn't have to be a brilliant bird photo. It's a photo of a bird Pursue took themselves, and that's really cool. Excellent. Marika has got... Ooh, that looks like an American crow. Brachys corvirhynchos, I think. No, Corvus brachyrhynchos. Find them on our Tree of Life. American crow. Yep, Corvus brachyrhynchos. And yeah, very self-assured bird there, Murph. Bird's got some swagger. And hey, Chaotic Time Traveler, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, look at that. Just the confidence which this bird carries him or herself. I think we all aspire to that. Brilliant. Good post, Marika. Thanks for posting. And Deathsaurus says these are all from a zoo in China. Oh, we got some sort of pheasant-y looking bird there. I don't know who that is specifically, but some kind of pheasant-y bird. Holy cow, a cassowary. Let me get some cassowary emotes going in the chat. Nice. Perhaps my favorite living bird. Cassowarius cassowarius, the great southern cassowary. We've got some peafowl here. Some kind of pheasant-y guy. Emus. This is Emu dromaeus. Native to Australia. Another pheasant-y guy there. And some other kind of pheasant-y guy. Pheasant-y guy's big in this Chinese zoo, apparently. Thank you, Deathsaurus, for posting. Good stuff. Neverwinter has got a lifer. Holy cow. Clay-colored sparrow. Look at that, chat. So lifers are a very important and exciting thing. A lifer that's like the first instance of that bird that you've ever seen in your life as a birder. So it's another bird you can add to your life list. Really exciting there. Very cool, Neverwinter. My lifer clay-colored sparrow, Spizella pallida. Pennypack on the Delaware Park in Northeast Philadelphia, PA. October 2022. Very, very cool. Excellent. I love to see a lifer posted. Oh, hang on. Brief interruption. Our 3D printer has completed its work. Let's go pull this off there and start another one. I'm printing life-size hatchling leatherback turtles. There. And this batch is done. Excellent. We'll put another one going here. But, yeah, I'm making these... Nope, wrong button. Making these as leatherback magnets. This one's not painted yet, but I was smoothing in some of the seams and stuff, and then I'll paint it so it looks exactly like a hatchling leatherback. This is life size, by the way. We're going to be doing a lot of work with leatherback turtles over the coming year. It's my hope anyway. An incredible animal, superlative in so many different ways. Really is the king of turtles. And we're going to be doing some important conservation work with them in 2026. And I'm making some of these to offer as thank you gifts for various leatherback turtle researchers and conservationists that we'll be working with, so I'm excited about that. Yeah. And they are so small, says Wild Luna. I mean, when they first hatch, yeah. Yeah, they are small. They're not so small when they return to the beach. Only the females ever come back, and it's only to lay their eggs. And, there we go. They look like this. They're pretty huge. The world's largest living reptile, if you go by weight, at least. There's maybe a couple species of crocodilian that get heavier slightly. But it's the largest non-crocodilian reptile by weight. Also the widest ranging living reptile. The world's largest marine reptile nowadays. Incredibly cool. Leatherback turtles are astonishing animals. I mean, they really, really are. There is, I think, a male leatherback. I think this might be Bumpy. Might be his nickname. He was caught on 2 different occasions by this research team off the coast of California. Just enormous. Yeah. I'm looking forward to actually working with this team. Who knows? Might be possible. I would be overjoyed at the chance. But this guy right here, Scott Benson, I'm going to be doing an in-person interview with him after Christmas this year. Talking all about leatherback turtle science and conservation. Really looking forward to that. It'll be December 29th. Just a couple days before New Year's. So yeah, what an incredible animal, leatherback turtle. And now we're printing another hatchling. It'll be number 10 or 11. Yeah, good stuff. Anyhow, yeah. And Johnny One Tap, thank you for the follow. Another bird for Thursday Birds Day. Sorry, the alert is shuddering. That's a cassowary right there. Do we tag this big boy? Yeah, that's Bumpy right there, Golganek. Here, I think that's Bumpy. Transcript.
Cover, but we're getting short on time. And now you might have heard about this animal. This is a survivor. This is Bumpy.
Yep.
Bumpy is a male leatherback that we first saw and caught and tagged in 2016. And then again, just recently, this last October, in October 2021.
Nice.
His name is Bumpy because his carapace is somewhat deformed. It looks like he has had a run-in with a boat or two over time, but he's survived the wounds, but his carapace is a little bit bumpy, hence the name. And these are his tracks, and you can see in these cases here, they're fairly similar tracks. It's great to see that Bumpy's still out there and able to survive this despite the plight of the population, although a little concerning that this last time he stopped transmitting in late March, whereas previously we got signals all the way into late July. So we hope Bumpy is okay, but it's kind of an inspiration really to see one of these animals multiple times. Really interesting to catch the animal in the same place in twice.
Yeah. There's so many different threats to leatherback turtles nowadays, and they very well could be driven into extinction within the next couple decades if people continue to do things like these really harmful overfishing practices, you know, destruction of nesting beaches. Plastic pollution is another threat to them because they feed on jellyfish. And you know what looks exactly like a jellyfish when you're there swimming through the water column? Things like plastic bags and mylar balloons and stuff like that. The sort of thing that you don't want to be ingesting. Anyway, there's a lot of different threats to leatherback turtles, and we'll be talking a lot more about this throughout the rest of this month and into next year. So, yeah. And they swim way out there. Petrodactylists, they swim all the way across the Pacific. It's pretty incredible. There.
It is regulated by ocean conditions. South China population looks like, we call this a meta population, using multiple.
That's Scott Benson's voice there. I think I'm going to be interviewing.
Multiple different beaches in
the
Western Pacific. I mentioned about the winter and the summer nesters in this case, and the green ones, and then down here in the inset here are the places where these animals were tagged. And these are the foraging areas that they're using. So what I've done here is we're using what's known as area restricted search behavior. So we've got
So yeah, this is pretty incredible what they're doing. Yeah. Fair.
And what I mean by that, California leatherbacks, this is, again, the migration across from the
all the way across the Pacific Ocean
to California. This is the longest migration of any air-breathing aquatic vertebrate.
Crazy.
And what I mean by that is that, yes, there are birds that go further, like the Arctic tern, but they're flying.
Yep.
It's
a lot easier to fly than it is to swim. In the sense that, you know, water is far more viscous than air is. Takes a lot more energy to swim across an ocean than to soar across it as a bird. You know?
Are some whale sharks that might go as far, or maybe a little further, but they don't ever have to come up for air. The leatherback turtle is actually pushing water across the entire Pacific Ocean. It requires them on the order of 10 to 12 months to make the journey from the nesting beaches over here to California. The trip back is shorter, likely because they're in better body condition after
they're more recently fed
on jellyfish for months.
Yeah.
And so that they can get back in about 7 to 9 months. But the dominant pattern in all this is actually that green arrow here, which is, again, I mentioned before that the...
Anyway, cool stuff. I'll give you a link to this talk, which I'd recommend you take a look at or give it a listen if you're doing dishes or laundry or yard work or something like that. I'm going to be interviewing Scott Benson after Christmas, and yeah, it'd be awesome if you had some good questions for him, Jeff. Anyhow, yeah. Anyhow. And Mayor of Space says of Bumpy, he's so embarrassed. Only girls go out of the water to be subjected to this indignity. I mean, it was for science, though. He got a tag on him. He got weighed, blood samples taken, like all kinds of really important data collected. And then he sent them right back on his way. So, yeah. Anywho, it's Thursday birthday. We gotta get back into birds. It's so easy to distract me with leatherback turtles. We gotta get back to Thursday birthday here. We've got about an hour before we have to go raid into Badlands Dinosaur Museum and see the 9th annual field report. Can't wait. But Andy's the one has got not one, but 2 black swans for us to see here. Very nice. Is this a different species or just a different variety of them? Maybe there's sickness. I'm not sure. But anyway, cool. Andy's the one. Thanks for posting. They are together hanging out. And it's the old vibe. Wait, which one is it? Is that this? Yeah, it does look like the Burian brachiosaur. That's funny. I like that. And we've got a white ibis and fellow glossy ibis doing their daily foraging. The glossy one appears to have something going on with its left leg. Perhaps that leg is tired or sore, or who knows? Maybe just doing a thing. Very nice. Very cool. You have such cool birds in Florida. I'm always a little jealous. Some stretching, or is it a courtship thing? Who knows? Look at me, Mom. I'm on Thursday birthday. Good stuff. Tweez bills. There you go, Alexander. Yeah, you can see that. Finally had a moment. Surprising colored visitor, the Eurasian jay. They're proving quite trusting and curious of my presence to some extent, more than crows. More like a raven does. It's very cool if they do it. Very, very cool. The Eurasian jay.
Hello, I'm
Super
Sam
neat.
Neill from Jurassic Park. Let's protect our fossils, because if they're removed, America loses them forever.
Wren is a cloud. You've got a bird name for Thursday Birthday. Beautiful. It's good to have you here, Wren is a cloud. Howdy, howdy. Eurasian jay. We don't have these where I live. This is very cool. Thank you for posting. Good stuff. Very cool. Another video from Cacklin's Wharf. Got some grebes here. That's what looked like. Was that a coot in the background as well? Presumably not an American coot. It would be like a Eurasian coot. Very cool. So many cool wetland birds in the Netherlands. I guess that's what you get when a large portion of your country is below sea level. Yeah. And I'll see you next time, Alexander Morrison. Thanks for being here. If you can return later, Alexander, again, we're going to be raiding into the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. The 9th annual field report starts in an hour. I'm going to be raiding into them, so check it out if you get the chance. Find out all the cool things that this museum has been doing for the past year, both in the lab and in the wider museum and out in the field, digging up dinosaurs in Montana. They had some really cool finds this year. It's going to be awesome. Including probably some sukians. But yeah. Anywho, good stuff. And we've got some parakeets here. Very nice. Fake do it. Very nice. That's always cool when such charismatic birds show up to say hello. That's really neat. Thanks for posting. Crocheting a whale shark. That's super cool, Wild Luna. Holy moly. Sharks are awesome. We'll see if we can do a stream for World Whale Shark Day next August. We missed it last year because I think I was in the field or something. Cheeseness says, I have some baby sparrows visiting my yard at the moment. Yesterday, this little one was testing grass and clover to see if they were edible. Also practicing bathing. Surprise spotted dove at the end. Nice. Oh, what a lovely sparrow. It's cool to see them when they're so young and they're just kind of learning how everything works. That feels like a kind of a rare and precious thing. When we see birds, most of the time we're seeing adult birds who already kind of have everything figured out. To see them when they're young and they're still learning, that's such a fleeting time. It feels like a privilege to be able to see. Zebra dove. Holy cow. Okay. Ms. Art Rules. Oh, this is from last week. Excellent. We've got a turkey there, right? Beautiful. A turkey for Turkey Day. Thanksgiving Day. Theropodsgiving, as we call it around here. Very nice. We had a good Thanksgiving. Nice. And Neverwinter says, Happy Turkey Day. Here's a mountain bluebird, Cialia curocoides. It somehow wound up in eastern Pennsylvania in November 2022. Well, it's at its normal range of western North America. Maybe starting a founding population there? An invasion of Rocky Mountain bluebirds? Very cool. Neverwinter knows where the cool birds are. That's awesome. Yeah, and that is very pretty. Absolutely. It's so cool that, like, you can recognize a bird like this and go, holy cow, you are like 1,000 miles away from where you're supposed to be. Let me photograph you. That's really cool. Fugitive bird. What are you running from, mountain bluebird? What are you trying to escape from? Huh? Robbed a bank somewhere in Colorado. Starting a new life in Pennsylvania. Fresh start. Loon 700's got a collared aracari in Costa Rica. Check that out. Holy cow. I'm almost scared of this bird. You can imagine being like a caterpillar or something, and you're like, gotta eat, gotta get big, gotta watch out for predators, and then this guy shows up. Oh yeah, or a small rodent. Yeah. Yeah, this might be the last thing you ever see. Wild. That's so cool, Loon. Thank you for posting. Wild. And Gwiper's got, some feathers here. After the discussion of feathers this week, we did talk a lot about feathers before Thanksgiving, huh? This is my collection. Blue-green is the 28. Male red-tailed black cockatoo. Interesting. Very cool. And I recognize some of those stickers. There is a Casey Snowart stegosaur and Vaquitas there. That's awesome, Gwiper. Very, very cool. Thanks for posting. So you don't even have to post a whole bird for Thursday Birds Day. feathers count. And a female red-tailed black cockatoo coming in for a drink. That's a great photo. Look at how beautiful those feathers are there. Look at that. That's so cool. It kind of reminds me of, there's certain fishes that have got a similar color scheme. Very striking like this. I want to say like a tiger Oscar or something like that might have a similar kind of color pattern. Do I have that right? Tiger Oscar? So cool. That's awesome, Piper. That's awesome. Again, you have such cool birds in Australia. I'm always a little bit jealous. And Joshy says, I got a new phone with a nice camera the other week. Try to get some pictures of birds at my work. All right. Very nice. I look forward to it. And Shark Geek, how are you doing? Hello, Shark Geek. I hope things are going well with you. It's good to see you as always. Can we get a shout out for Shark Geek, by the way? Who's going to be gunning for partner pretty soon here, hopefully. Shark Geek does all kinds of outreach around sharks and ocean conservation. If that sounds interesting to you, go check him out. Go give him a follow. Good guy, Shark Geek, and I'm always thrilled every time you show up here in the chat. Appreciate you. My drone got hit by a cool bird this week. Was he wearing sunglasses? No, birds don't have to wear sunglasses to be cool. They're just naturally cool. A juvenile bald eagle. Holy cow. It's got some scratches. That's really awesome, actually. Holy cow. If you want to, at some point, post pictures of your battle-scarred drone with real eagle battle damage. If you want to post some of those to Thursday Birds Day, we'd love to see that, I'm sure. Yeah. My metrics for that are broken. Said my CCV is 0 since the convention. It'll come around. Yeah, that's weird. But you keep it up, Shark Geek, and you'll get up there. Yeah, that's just an error. Anywho, cool. Let's continue. Dr. Tara has got surprising hawk pair encounter at local Brown's store. I don't know what a Brown is, but there is a hawk. Is that a red tail, maybe? White underwings. Nice. Oh, there we go. White undersides. Those almost look like peregrines. Huh. There's a standing peregrine there. Another one here. Could those be peregrines? There's like white that comes up around the back of the neck in front of the anterior part of the wings. That's also what we're seeing here. I bet you those are peregrines there. Peregrine falcons. Yeah. That doesn't look like a peregrine in the wing profile. Those are probably red tails, huh? Here, let's listen, like you were saying there, Dr. Tara. Oh, yeah. Definitely a hawk. Probably a red tail. Nice. Oh, that's so cool. Nice. Very cool. Thanks for posting, Dr. Tara. Always cool to see. Oh, that's not an American crow. You live in the middle of Europe? It's probably a common crow, then. I think that's what they're called in Europe, right? shopping for milk when that happened. That's so cool, Dr. Terry. You know, sometimes dinosaurs surprise us. You know, you just be minding your own business, looking to purchase some mammal milk, and then suddenly, bam, dinosaur up in the sky. How cool is that? Yeah. Have we mentioned that yeah, Lukai, but we do have new people here who might not be familiar with that concept, who might not know that.
Red-tailed hawks live throughout North and Central America, and even if you don't live anywhere near their native range, they're probably familiar to you. We'll explain why in just a bit. Red-tailed hawks are frequently seen sitting atop a prominent tree within their ranges, but they'll also happily utilize man-made perches like fence posts and telephone poles. They may—
or whatever this thing is in this video. A guard tower at the milk store. Yeah, there we go. They love it.
May also be seen soaring high above the ground in circling patterns. While perching or soaring, these birds are in search of their next meals. Red-tailed hawks eat small mammals such as voles, prairie dogs, and rabbits, but these, we can almost guarantee you've heard one. Probably the easiest way to tell there's a red-tailed hawk in the area is to listen for its call. Does this sound familiar? We'd be surprised if you haven't heard that or something similar, because that's the sound filmmakers use as sound clips for raptors in film, regardless of the species. Female red-tailed hawks are
like, you'll hear that sound all the time when there's like a bald eagle on screen in a movie or a TV commercial or a show or whatever. That's not a bald eagle sound. Bald eagles sound very different. They have kind of a whinier kind of call. Let's compare. So, red-tailed hawk, bald eagle. Bald eagle. Yep. Yeah, does that make sense? All right. So now the next time you see a bald eagle on TV or in a movie and you hear that call, you go, that's not right. That's a red-tailed hawk. And every other, you know, birder around will be thinking the same thing. There's a similar thing, actually. Speaking of the wrong bird calls in films,
in a jungle?
That's
that
a
sound?
loon. And right now, he's doing something called wailing. But this is probably not the first time you've heard that noise.
Nope.
Here it is in the movie 1917, as they enter the enemy trench.
Yeah, there's no loons in Europe.
In the
like
third
that,
Harry Potter movie, as they climb out of the Whomping Willow. In Rick and Morty, when Rick uses his intergalactic toilet. You'll find it whenever a scene needs to feel a little moody.
They feared it.
Or eerie. Or just remind us that we're in the great outdoors. This specific bird call is all over movies and TV shows, but it really shouldn't be.
This is a critter that's got a... They're not cosmopolitan. They don't live all over the world, and they certainly don't live on other planets. They have a specific range in North America.
If you ever find yourself on birder Twitter,
which I think is probably almost entirely moved to Blue Sky at this point. Twitter has really gone down the tubes. So, birder Blue Sky, really.
You'll find a lot of angry tweets like these.
Can someone please tell movie makers that loons are not, in fact, the only bird out there?
Hello, I'm a nature scene in a movie. Doesn't matter whether it's habitat appropriate or not, I'm a common loon call.
Have you ever noticed loon calls in impossible locations in movies and TV? In a jungle?
Watching the movie Harriet, only 20 minutes in, but I'm giving them kudos. They were not lazy. No loon calls yet.
Can you read the first reply on that one?
Oh, myself? No, why, Harriet? At about the hour 20-minute mark, they throw in a calling loon.
That's Terry. He's a research geographer. But more importantly, he moonlights on Twitter and his blog as Dakota Birder. He mostly posts beautiful pictures of birds and points out when Hollywood uses their calls incorrectly.
As a birder, you just can't help but notice.
That's because the loon is a very particular bird.
Yep.
They're also called divers because they're really good at diving, thanks to their dense bones and enormous feet. They're also good at something called penguin dancing and scooting across lakes at astonishing speeds. This is a map of the common loon's range. They mostly stick to Canada and the northern US, where there are plenty of lakes for them to hang out in. But they do migrate, passing through other US states on their way to winter along the coasts, as far down as Mexico. And here's a very...
Yeah, in fact, I need to see if we've got any loons nesting where I live, in the sunny San Francisco Bay Area. We should actually be getting some of those winter birds. Like, winter is one of the best times to go birding in California, especially in the Bay Area, because you have all these species that fly down south to here from more northerly climes, and they just hang out here during the winter because it's not that cold. So you get a whole bunch of species that you can only really find here during the winter. I had to go out and go birding soon. That's something I got to remember to do. But yeah. Anywho.
Very unscientific map of all the places I found a common loon call in movies and TV.
I certainly wouldn't expect a common loon in Hawaii or in Bolivia or in South Africa.
And geographic location isn't the only thing Hollywood gets
upstate
wrong.
New York on the right. That's very cool. I can
might be found in California, but not during the summer.
Yep.
Like Becky in Finding Dory.
Lads, meet Becky.
And unlike what this clip from the TV show Rome implies, you'd never find a loon in a desert.
No, they need water.
And quite a lot of it.
If you've ever seen a loon try to fly, it takes them a little while to get going.
They're actually really clumsy on land. So you also wouldn't find them in the Vietnamese jungle, like in the movie Platoon. And
you might, but it'd be a trap.
This clip from Kubo and the Two Strings.
Golden heron.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's one thing to, use the wrong bird call as a background noise. It's another to actually show a picture of the bird and use a wrong call.
And even if those were loons, that movie takes place in Japan, which is at least on planet Earth, unlike Avengers Infinity War.
The big baddie, Thanos, he returns to his home planet, and so they pan to an overview of the planet, and the first noise you hear is a common loon. It just ruined the moment.
Yep. So that's the thing, is that, like, this might seem to some of you watching as, like, a minor detail. Like, oh boy, here's the birders getting upset about birds again. But, imagine you're really into classic cars or, I don't know, baseball or something like that. I don't know. You're really into Victorian age fashion, and then you see something in a movie, a portrayal of that that's just completely wrong, It's like there's a movie set in the 1940s and there's a a Corvette that drives down the street. Be like, what the heck? It completely ruins your immersion. It takes you out of the moment, where your suspension of disbelief is just shattered. Like, you're suddenly aware of the fact that you're watching a movie, and it just takes you out of the story that little bit. Sometimes that's enough to kind of ruin your enjoyment for a while. And yeah. Lukai says, it's like me reading a station that mentions someone taking the train from X to Y. And I'm just like, that's not where those train lines go. There's even a station there. Exactly, yeah. Iacane says, this is why I can't watch anything related to medicine. There you go. Yeah. Someone with experience in the medical field. Yeah. But that's the thing, too, is that sometimes when filmmakers or people producing a show or whatever, when they really take the time to get those details right, you appreciate it so much more. And it shows the level of attention to detail. Like, it just speaks well of the project as a whole, where it's like, man, if they took the time to get that right, they're really paying attention, huh? They really put a lot of thought into this. Yeah. But yeah. Anyhow.
Some credit this 1981 movie, On Golden Pond, as the first to use loon calls.
The loons.
The loons.
Oh, look, I've spotted the loons.
I love how the loons are actually like a plot point in this movie.
It did
Good for them.
feature a lot of loons, but they used them correctly.
Yeah.
It's set up north on a lake during the summer. Really, it's hard to tell which film kicked off Hollywood's loon obsession, or when, but...
So this is kind of like the bird equivalent of the Wilhelm scream. You know what I mean? Is anybody familiar with that? This is one of these things that once people really started to pay attention to it, everybody started using it. There.
Does this scream sound familiar? That's because it's used in over 100 films. It's a movie trope called the Wilhelm scream.
The Wilhelm scream is maybe the most famous sound effect in Hollywood that is used when characters are shot or fall off high places in action films.
The scream made its first appearance in a 1951 film called Distant Drums.
And I don't think that's true. It was earlier. It was a black and white film. Isn't it The Charge on Feather River?
And there's a moment in the film where a character is dragged into the swamp and they wanted a particularly blood-curdling scream.
Now, this was just one of many different screams in the film.
To make a film, you need a sound effects library, a collection of sound effects. And you're going to use them in different parts of the film. Maybe in one part of your action film, you need a 2-second scream, but in another part of your film, you might need a 1.5-second blood-curdling scream.
Producers had cast members record a variety of different screams, but there was one man's scream in particular that stood out among the rest.
It's usually credited now to Sheb Wooley, who was a kind of a Western-style character actor and a novelty singer who appears in Distant Drums.
But it's...
Oh, so this is the first time it was used as a sound effect. But that guy did that scream in another film, and that's actually... It's not a sound library thing. It's not a sound effect that they pulled out of the library. Here,
first appearance in 1951 wasn't the scream's shining moment. That happened when it was used again in the 1953 film The Charge at Feather River.
Oh, that was after? I stand corrected. Okay.
A character named Private Wilhelm was shot in the leg with an arrow.
And that's how it got named the Wilhelm scream.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll just fill my pipe.
Since then, the sound...
Yeah, anyway. But loon calls are pretty much that, which is funny.
It's pretty easy to figure out why.
I mean, it is a scary sound. I mean, it's just weird. It's unusual.
In some Algonquin lore, loons are messengers and supernatural companions to legendary hero Glooskap. In 1864, naturalist/philosopher Henry David Thoreau said the loon's call was singularly human. And in 1913, John Muir, another bearded naturalist/philosopher, called it strange, sad, mournful, and unearthly. But the loons aren't sad when they're wailing. They actually have 4 calls. There's the hoot.
Anywho, this goes into more detail about that. I'll give you the link. We've got like half an hour before we gotta go right into Badlands Dinosaur Museum for their annual field report, so let's continue with Thursday Birds Day here before I get even further distracted. Will we make it across all of these? We'll see. Dr. Irrefutable's got a corvid here. Is this a crow? What kind of crow are you? Huh. I would say American crow, but I don't know if this was taken, these photos were taken in North America, so. Hiroshima Peace Park. If that's in Hiroshima in Japan, then that would not be an American crow. Yeah. Very cool. Another walk from Cacklin's Wharf here. A kingfisher flyby. Oh, very cool. When is the kingfisher? Merlins was misted over. This walk was worth it. I finally saw my first kingfisher flyby. Very, very cool. Okay. Life for a kingfisher. Beautiful. Kingfisher, here we go. So there's some probably European coots, Eurasian coots there. That looked like a Hummer, unless that was a... Could that have been a kingfisher? It did go and land in those lakeside branches like a kingfisher might do. That was a kingfisher? Nice, let's see it again. There we go. See it? Nice. Oh, very cool. Excellent. First kingfisher. Well done. Well done. Very nice. Thanks for posting. I'm glad we could finally show this too. I'm sorry it's been so long since we've done a Thursday Birds Day. I'm glad we could do that today. A gratuitous drama shot of a parakeet here? Parrot? I like that. I like that thing. That's really good. Nice. Yeah. Beautiful swans in the River Liffey in Dublin, Ireland. Spotted them February 12th, 2025. Cool, Gattakin. Very cool. Those long necks. They're so flexible. I feel like they could tie themselves into a knot. Very cool, Gattakin. Thanks for posting. And there's something, I don't know, there's something just really cool about a critter with such a long neck like that. Whether it's a sauropod, or an elasmosaur, or a swan. There's just something so graceful and dignified about that, you know? Pro tip, do not approach swans. Yeah, they'll mess you up if they feel like it. Okay, they're a large bird that lives on the ground, and the ground is a rough neighborhood. You gotta be tough to survive on the ground, unless you're on a tiny island somewhere with no predators or anything. So yeah, large birds that spend a lot of time on the ground, they tend to have an attitude, because they kind of need to. Yeah. Huh. Nice. And Murph's got one of his better bird photos, despite cheating since it was incarcerated. What did this green heron do? What's he in for? Lives year-round in my area, but I've never seen one. I'm gonna get out there and find me a wild one. Yeah, there you go. One who's still at large. This one serving his time, or her time, I don't know. Very nice. Green heron. Cool critter. We have these here in the Bay Area, but they're not super common. avoid tax fraud, says Tommy Paleontologist. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. And Chaotic Time Traveler has got Luffy, the Indian ringneck. He's growing up. He won't get his first ring for a while yet, but he should start talking very soon. Awesome. He's about to ingest a... Is that a glob of glowing hot magma? I know it's a Christmas light bulb, but it's really cool. It's a great photo. Nice. Oh man, look at him. You know, it's nice that he's getting some screen time, but you know, he shouldn't be watching trash like this, you know? He should watch something educational. Let's take a look. Oh, here we go. We're in the middle of Thursday Birds Day right now, which is our weekly... This is right now! In fact, the dinosaurs never went completely extinct. I love this. Thousands of species of birds still around today. Not like this, but birds are bigger. This is so cool. It's first time seeing them up close. Super cool, Chaotic Time Traveler. You're talking about the Christmas lights? Nice. Yeah. Holiday lights. Well, Luffy, I hope you're having a good day. Is that you on the screen there? My goodness. Yeah. Good stuff. You look so green in this photo. But there you look pretty yellow. Yellow and pretty. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you for posting, Chaotic Time Traveler. I love that. In fact, I want to download that video if that's okay. And I'll save this picture too. That makes me really happy. I might post that to Blue Sky later if you wouldn't mind. Yeah. Oh, he's gone to bed now. He was very sleepy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right ahead. Thank you. Yeah. I'll see if I can. Tommy Ploticus says, sharing these little guys from my recent honeymoon in Italy. Congrats, by the way. That's awesome. Needless to say, they weren't shy. Yeah, these... Oh, man. I'm sure these dinosaurs are accustomed to preying on tourists. You know? Here's where all the people hang out who don't really know how things work around here. Easy prey. We can eat their croissants and Pop-Tarts and whatever else they're carrying around. Many a chip were lost. There you go, Tommy Ploticus, yeah. Yeah. And I have green lights in my room. Oh, nice. Chaotic Time Traveler. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. You turn away for a second, your scone or whatever is gone. Yeah. Just... Yeah. It reminds me of, Here. Yeah.
Seagulls are a staple on Maine's beaches this time of year, and if you're not careful, you might lose your lunch.
In Connecticut, a pesky
sparrows will do this, but gulls are notorious.
Taking food right out of people's hands. Melissa Cooney reports.
Does not give up.
As long as he puts his mind to it, he can eat anything on the beach at this point.
There's a thief.
He can eat anything on the beach, you know? Hot dogs, landing craft, beach whales, whatever, you know? Don't drive your car on the beach. He'll eat it.
Flying around Waterford Beach Park.
The seagull came, flew that way, took the cookie.
He has a yellow beak, beady eyes, and the determination of someone who hasn't eaten in years.
That I'm eating my cookie under my cover-up because it will steal my cookie.
But really, it's obvious he hasn't missed a meal in a while.
And you can tell because he's the fattest around.
This is Cecil, the seagull by the seashore. He takes food
and no prisoners.
I could feel his wings too. It was like so close.
We've had incidents of him like landing on people's head and taking food out of their mouths.
His favorite foods?
Oh, he's a big
Not
fan of
as
carbs,
much.
yeah.
He also likes the finer things, like a king crab leg.
The seagull completely devoured it in one go, and it stuck out on both sides of the neck.
And beggars can't be choosers, but Cecil does have his preferences.
No pickles, no cucumbers.
He's making a name for himself
Oh, I love cucumbers.
on the beach.
You gotta watch out. Cecil steals food.
The town putting up these signs warning people to keep an eye out for Cecil and his cronies.
He swoops right in, takes food right out of people's hands, takes your fingers with him.
And no kidding, some Cecil survivors let us share these photos. The lifeguards tell us they've been busy with Band-Aids this summer.
We did speak with animal control, and the reality is it's a wild animal. It's causing no true harm, so there's not much we can do but laugh along with him.
Unfortunately, Cecil ignored our request for comment. Sir, please. Cecil.
You can send any inquiries to my attorney. Anyway, so cool that you got to see some equally thieving sparrows there in Italy. That's super cool, Tommy Plotticus. Thanks for posting. Yeah. Reporter should have had a hot dog. I mean, yeah, that's one way. Yeah. Smart Bird, never talk about your crimes. Yeah, especially not on camera. Gal rocks, yeah. And Deathsaurus has got a few other birds from the China trip. Here's some pelicans there. Some kind of stilty, storky bird. More pheasanty guys. Some swans. Yeah, more swans there. Oh, and a black-crowned night heron. Very nice. Yeah. A cardinal without a face, Charcone. How can that be? Holy cow. This is the back of the head, but it's so funny that you can see the eyes on either side. That's really cool, Charcon. Thanks for posting. Yeah, that's got to be the back of the head, Deathsaurus. Yeah. Because you can see that the crest is kind of pointed toward the camera, and on a cardinal, the crest is oriented posteriorly, which means it goes backward. There we go. See? Yeah, so you're seeing the back of the head there. Still cool that you can see the eyes on either side, though. That they stick out that far. Yeah. Yes, oriented caudally. There you go, Miss Blue Skies. Yep. Blue-faced honey eater outside my office window this morning while watching the Holly Anderson interview. Very cool, Static. Did the honey eater enjoy the interview too? I hope so. Yeah. Very nice. Beautiful bird. Look at that. What a great photo too. Holy cow. Well done. So cool that you've got those birds where you live. That's special. That's really cool. And Shark Geek, oh, we got it. Excellent. The battle damage on my drone from a young bald eagle. It's very subtle. It didn't get a good grip. Well, still, we've got a DJI. Nice. Good drones. Yeah, look at those scratches there. You got some dinosaur damage on your drone. That's really cool, Shark Geek. Holy cow. Very, very cool. Some other birds I saw today as a consolation, starting with this osprey. Beautiful. Sitting on top of a Norfolk pine. That's, I think, genus Araucaria. It's the same genus as the monkey puzzle tree. That lineage goes back to, like, the Jurassic. It's kind of a classic prehistoric tree. Because, you know, they are superficially similar to ones that lived during the Mesozoic. Osprey, not so much. They are much more recent. But, man, they're cool. Awesome. Looking out for some fishes there. And a limpkin has the loudest, most unsettling call I've ever heard. Oh, man, we gotta look that up and listen to it. Let's see. Limpkin call. What do they sound like? Oh, apparently we've watched this before. Florida's loudest bird. Okay. All right. You ready to get freaked out, chat? Are there any animals in the room? Turn the volume way up. Let's have a listen. Very cool. Let's take a look at this one too. Florida's loudest bird. Nice. Guy's got pipes. I know, right, Salamander? Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Very cool. Very cool.
That gives the history of life its very quirky, fortuitous, chancy character. We are literally here only because of the good fortune of dinosaur
Extinction, yeah. Although dinosaurs didn't go completely extinct. We still have them today as birds. Thank you, Mooncloud, for the 7 months of support. I really appreciate that. Good stuff. Oh, and Anhinga, very cool. It was a snake bird, yeah. Oh, these guys are cool too. Are they related to cormorants, or are they not? Let's look this up, because they remind me of cormorants. They've also got a very flexible neck. They also dive down into the water in pursuit of fishes and stuff, if I remember correctly. But are they related to cormorants? Who also do those things? Cormorants. Here. There we go. Is the Anhinga a member of this group, or is it not? It is. All right. It is a member of the cormorants. And that's another one of these critters, like we talked about earlier, that has the same genus and species name. Anhinga. I wonder if there was like a local word in a local tongue. You know, a name for this animal, and whoever named it scientifically is like, yep, sounds good to us. Let's make it the scientific name. In fact, I wonder. Let's look that up. Anhinga. Also known as the water turkey? Okay. The word Anhinga comes from Anyinga in the Brazilian Tupi language and means devil bird or snake bird. Interesting. The origin of the name is apparent when swimming. Only the neck appears above water, so the bird looks like a snake ready to strike. Oh, very cool. And they do not have external nares. Holy cow, there's no nose on this bird. I didn't know that. Oh, well. Look at that. There's no nostrils on the beak. So they have to open their mouth to breathe, I guess. That's really cool. I guess that would be an adaptation for swimming underwater. You don't have to worry about water going up your nose if you could just clamp your beak shut. But it probably does make you a little bit more vulnerable to choking if you're trying to swallow down a big prey item. Yeah. No nose, but how's it smell? Terrible. Oh, they literally spearfish with their beak. I guess that makes sense, Ms. Blue Skies. Yeah. Yeah, because look at how sharp that beak is. And you don't want your beak to go through a bird. Through a bird. You don't want it to go through a bird either. You don't want it to go through a fish. Or a frog. Or a small submarine or whatever. And then not be able to breathe because your nostrils are inside of that prey item. Yeah. It sure reminds me. Find this for you real quick. There's a webcomic I stumbled across. Recently, which here we go. I love this. These soft-bodied aliens operate mech suits, and look at them climbing into the mech suits right there. Their plan: invade Earth. They are jumping off of the ship toward Earth. The plan didn't quite go as they were expecting there. This is from Beetle Moses. I'll give you a link to their this guy here. There we go. Anywho, and Hinga, thank you for sparking such a fun discussion there, Sharky. Good stuff. And are their beaks sealable enough to be water resistant? I would presume so, yeah. And eaten by dinosaurs, a classic ending, says Scout Rocks. Yeah. Oh, and that's our last one. Wow, we managed to successfully complete Thursday Birds Day and catch up to, well, we don't have a backlog anymore. Excellent. Very good. With any luck, we'll do Thursday Birds Day again next week. And in a few short minutes, we're going to be tuning into the annual field report of the Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. Good stuff. That is right here. So the Badlands Dinosaur Museum is a museum that is very near and dear to my heart. My old crew chief, Denver Fowler, is the curator of paleontology at the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. And they do all kinds of incredible work, not just in the field, but also in the lab. And they've got really cool displays. And I visited this museum, did some streams from there earlier this year. There we go. It's now a municipal museum, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. And well, here comes Denver. Denver, how's it going? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Denver Fowler. I am the curator here on the dinosaur side of the museum, and I run the field work and basically organize the lab and collections, things like that as well, with some of my staff. who'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. I told them we're going to get to meet Steve and see the work in the lab and everything, so very cool. One of the themes on today's broadcast is just going to be how this might not seem like a very large museum, but it punches well above its weight in terms of field work and research and outreach, and I really think, we're going to hit you over the head with that idea today. You're going to see it firsthand. So yeah, where do you think we should start? Should we start at the front of the museum? And Static Life Photo, awesome. The Honey Eater definitely enjoyed the interview. So cool. Oh, man. I might have to post a picture, too, and say we had a dinosaur watching the interview. Nice. We're the only people in here right now, so we don't have to worry about
make a lot of noise.
Yeah. So, yeah. I got the chat on my arm, too. That's what this is, if you think it looks weird, Denver. But,
You
yeah.
look like a cyborg.
So Denver and Illiterate Scholar says, will Denver and Liz be able to read our questions submitted on Twitch or only through Facebook? So I'm not totally sure about that. I know that Steve Clausen, who is the preparator at this museum, Steve will be streaming this on Twitch. And I don't know how the chat situation works. We'll find out. But when I raid into there, it'll be on his channel. We'll be able to type our questions in there. And yeah. So anyway, this is a really, really cool tour of this museum. And let's go. Well, let me show you something special here. Was it part of this stream or was it part of the other one? When we got to see Danny Ceratops. I think that might have been the other one. Let's see here.
Myosaurs
always ate their vegetables. Hejaw, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It is good to have you here. Paleontologizing, one and all, and welcome to Dickinson, North Dakota. Welcome to the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. We're going to have a really cool stream today. This is my second stream from here, and we looked around the exhibit hall yesterday, all throughout here. Dinosaurs, indeed, Hejaw. It's good to have you here. We're going to be looking at the fossil lab and at the fossil collection, so I'm very excited to share that with you. Again, in just a few minutes, we're going to be raiding into a live broadcast from this museum. And Steve is going to be streaming this on his platform. Very cool.
Yeah, it's been a little
here. To the lab, everybody. This is Steve Clausen right here, who is chief preparator?
Paleo laboratory manager, but yeah, effectively.
Paleo lab manager, nice, nice, cool. How long have you been doing this?
So I've been lab manager over 3 years now. I've been with the field crew more than 7 years.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, it's been a little run.
Yeah, awesome.
And pretty soon you'll see things have accumulated. Those 3 months.
So those of you who watched this live,
really built.
You'll probably recognize some of these things that we'll see in the broadcast today from this tour that we did back in February. And there's going to be a lot of new stuff too that they dug up just this summer. So cannot wait. Here, let's go over a little spiel right here about this museum and the support that they could use. Actually at an auction. Or better yet, fund field work. If you're the sort of person who's got a lot of money and you really like dinosaurs, museums like this, holy cow, they can do a lot with not very much money, it would seem. Like, I don't know. Do you want to talk about that, Denver, a little bit? Like your budget for the summer? I know we talked about this yesterday, but I think it bears repeating.
Yesterday, so we spend $20,000 and we do 3 months worth of field work for that.
If there's anybody else in the sciences right now, maybe outside of paleontology, and they hear this figure, they'd be like, that can't be right. What? You do 3 months of field work? With $20,000? This is 3 months of field work with like a whole bunch of volunteers, and you need to purchase supplies, you need to purchase food, fuel, everything else. $20,000 in a lot of other sciences, it won't get you hardly anything. But the Badlands Dinosaur Museum is able to bring back scads of really cool fossils, including like a whole bunch of different dinosaurs. Oftentimes, they've got a new species here and there. all for 20 grand a year, you know? That's insane for science. I know, right? Yeah. $20,000 for 3 months of field work. 3 months.
Yesterday, so we spend $20,000 and we do 3 months worth of field work for that with 2 to 3 crews, so 10 to 15 people. On a
10 to 15 people. On 2 different crews.
crew, and we
Oh, and that's 10 to 15 people per crew. So this is like 30 people for 90 days, essentially. $20,000 bucks.
work 6 days a week. So on average, in a week, depending on the weather, we basically work every day we can, and then if it looks like it's going to rain, we go resupply. And we
You remember this ochre guard? Nice.
we're building
Yeah.
on more and more material.
Mm-hmm.
We prospect and we work on these bone beds as well, and just collect really good stuff. And we camp on public lands in very, very basic camps. We don't have anything fancy. We have a grill.
It's good to have a grill and a fridge. Yeah.
In Havre, we have pit toilets.
Luxury.
That is a luxury.
I consider that a luxury.
We
I take away that
Nice,
privilege.
Rayco. Okay, cool.
We have a reservoir that is good for swimming.
Nice.
It really is.
Yeah.
Sandy beach.
No, I mean it's pretty cheap when you live cheaply out there.
Yeah.
You know, we eat well. We don't like eat rubbish, but most everybody who comes.
It's not on the raccoon diet.
But yeah, 20 grand
20 grand for 3 months of field
for
work.
3 months.
And I don't know how many dinosaur specimens you're bringing back every summer, but it's a lot.
Yeah, we got. I mean, we got a grant to helicopter this one out, but we found it as part of that field work and all these things we collect. All the big jackets mostly. We've only helicoptered once. And everything else, we dragged it out with trucks and things.
And like commercially, does that amount of field work and the prep that follows, does that justify $40 million in many of these specimens?
So what Steve is talking about here is, oh boy. Is this a Stegosaurus skeleton which was auctioned off for $40+ million. With that much money, you could build the world's greatest dinosaur museum and fund it in perpetuity, have field work. You could find a dozen Stegosaurus like this every year for that amount. But anyway, that's the point that that Steve was making right here.
That follows, does that, like commercially, does that amount of field work and the prep that follows, does that justify $40 million in many of these specimens?
No.
Especially the cardboard ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, just think about that a little bit.
Yeah. So it's an important point to make. Yeah. And if, again, to repeat, if you want to help support this kind of work, you get a lot of bang for your buck. Like, I always say that paleontology is one of the most cost-effective of the sciences. Like, what you're able to get for the amount of funding that goes into it is incredible. So, yeah, if you want to help pay for Deanna here to prep some more of these fossils, that would really help out a tremendous amount. Like I keep saying, that's the bottleneck here. Getting these fossils prepped so they can go into collections and they can go on display and they can be studied and published and enjoyed by the public. You know, that's the difficult thing, is actually getting these things prepped, because going out and collecting them, they're very good at doing this, but you need people to sit down and actually clean the rock away from the bone, and that's what Deanna and Steve do.
Yeah. And fieldwork has its own difficulties, obviously.
Yeah.
But
anyway, we were able to raise something like, I think it was like $4,000 through these live streams. The generosity of this community has been absolutely astonishing, and that's something that I'm really excited to see during their field report, is not just what did they dig up during the field this year, but what were they able to get prepped using that money that you contributed. I think they'll have some coverage of that, so I'm really excited to see. Should be like less than 2 minutes now that we can raid in. Let's see if Fossil Preparator is live yet. Let's see. Fossil Preparator, there we go. And
4 different places.
Oh, nice.
Both.
Excellent. So let's go raid in right now. Oh, here. Start our wrap-up procedure. Don't go away just yet. We're going to raid in, hang out with Fossil Preparator there, and see the 9th annual field report from the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Excellent. And I don't know if our credits are working. Oh boy. Anyway, everybody, thank you for your support today during this stream. I'm always blown away by the enthusiasm and the questions and the financial support. It's what allows me to do this full time. Thanks for showing up for our interview with Holly Anderson. That was a lot of fun, and it's nice to get that ball rolling again. We'll be doing more of these official Fossil Finders interviews on a twice per month basis for the foreseeable future. Yeah, and again, thank you for everybody being mentioned here in the credits. New followers, raiders, thank you Dynamite Twins for that magnificent raid. Thank you to the subscribers and the resubscribers, the gifters and the cheerers. Thank you to the moderators for hang on, did our raid thing not work? There it is. Thank everybody here, including those mods. You see them there in the chat? Let's give them a big old paleo salute for all of their hard work, dedication, showing up day after day and keeping this a safe and welcoming community for everybody. And making it a lot easier on me, not having to worry about what's going on in the chat because we've got the mods here. That means more than you know, moderators. Really appreciate you. With that being said, I'm so excited for the field report here. I hope you stick around there in the chat. I was really eager to help promote this, and the Badlands Dinosaur Museum, they do incredible work. This is a museum that, like I said, punches well above its weight. I'm excited for you to see that in this field report that they do. They do this every year, and it's always a joy to see. So I'm really glad we can tune in this time and check it out.